welcome to Even Fitting Games presents our game of Thirsty Sword Lesbians in conjunction with Potions and Potpourri. I am Aaryn. I am the director of Even Fitting Games, and with me I have some wonderful guests who I'm going to throw it to. Next is Cedar.
Hey, how's it going? I'm Cedar the Barefoot. I am Cedar the Barefoot all over social media. You might know me from the Twitch, you might know me from the TikTok, but I'm also on the Insta, the Twitter, and the Threads, and the one where the sky is blue. I think. I don't know.
What year is it?
It's time for Kayla.
That's me. I'm Kayla. I'm from the Potions and Potpourri podcast, aka the co-host of this podcast that's happening. I'm also just on the EFG team in general, and you can find both me and Keisha across the various indie TTRPG space, playing games and talking about stuff. Who's next? Our friend Penny.
Yeah, hi, I'm Compang. I also go by Penny. You can find me at Penny LaScroach all over the internet, talking mostly about TTRPGs, and I run a Discord server called Titterpig Academy where I teach people how to play TTRPGs. So that's a thing that I like quite a bit. And I'll send it over to Keisha to kind of get us started on this game.
Hello, everybody. I am Keisha, the other half of Potions and Potpourri, and Kayla put it perfectly all the places and things you can find us. So rewind, listen to her. Great, you're caught up. Yeah, so we are all here today continuing our Thirsty Sword Lesbians mini campaign. I don't even know if it's really, to me, it's too short still to be a campaign, but that's just me because I'm a freak, but it's fine, whatever. But yeah.
It's a quest.
Quest. That's a good way to put it. I like that.
We're on a mission from God.
Better, the three paragons.
Who are basically gods.
Yeah, also yes. But yeah, I guess we can just kind of hop right into it. So you all have been given a quest by the three paragons of the Haven Cooperative. You have been knighted as Gal Paladins, where you go out and seek to help those who need it, to bring freedom, to bring equality, to bring love all across the universe. You were specifically sent to a world called Vivacia, as it is known that it was once a literal rainbow city that has turned gray. And so you are being sent there to see if you can't assist those who were kind of caught in this changeover, see what's going on, if perhaps you can bring back the colors. You all flew in on a ship, and that was being piloted by Syzygy.
Captain.
And you guys had a very smooth landing, but it was outside of the city in this brambly, prickly area that you had to traverse through. For the most part, you guys managed, but one of the characters got lost and encountered a being within that was also changed, but giving them a ribbon managed to bring them back to what they were, and you guys were able to re-meet, and you made it through the Bramblewood, you made it up to the gate, you managed to persuade your way inside, and that is where we're basically going to pick it up from. So we have our four Gal Paladins just now walking inside. Again, this is a place where everything is just shades of gray. That is it. You are the only ones bringing in any signs of colors, of vibrancy, of any sorts. So you literally just stand out, almost blazingly so, in this place where it's just so muted. Everything here, everything around you is perfectly cookie cutter. Every single building that you see, you can barely differentiate because it's the exact same square shape, perfectly made to be the exact same height, width. All of the windows are perfectly placed in the exact same spot. The doors, there's no creativity to any of these buildings at all. You can't even almost tell the difference between where people must live and what could be like a shop. The only indication of that are these very basic square signs that will say something such as cafe A, clothing B, just very basic names with a letter after it. There's nothing special, unique about the names themselves. This is the first thing that you are greeted with, is just all of this line of these buildings on this perfectly made street where all of the cobblestones are also perfectly square and perfectly placed all along the street that you are walking down. Everyone is walking, perfectly in the lane that they're supposed to. No mingling of any kind, there's nothing of that sort. It just has to be all in line. Everything must be. So as you guys walk in, you can maybe have a little of a reintroduction of your character if you want, as we kind of zoom back down onto our gal paladins. Who would be probably the first couple of people? Would it potentially be Joe and Quinn, since you have
I think so.
been here before? Okay.
I think so. Maybe
Cool.
even like Joe first and then Quinn.
Okay, so Joe is a very tall and large-muscled individual with gray skin currently, and she is got some brown leather armor on and a cloak over top of that that's kind of gray or black, and she has a sword at her side that is broken, and she looks very stiff and uncomfortable as she walks into the city.
Walking just behind Joe is one who is also very familiar with this place.
Yeah, that would be Quinn. Quinn is about average height, like 5'4", 5'5" or so. They have just on kind of nondescript clothes, just like loose trousers, some sort of tunic with a belt over it. Shades of like kind of deeper shades of grays, like different tones of grays at least. And they have like a pretty wide belt over their tunic with like some pouches hanging off of it for storage and such. And they're looking around a little shiftily at everything, trying to take it all in rapidly. They also have like a little like half hood cloak thing, just like a short cloak with a hood on it, so they have their hood up as well.
And not too far behind are two that have never been in a place like this, perhaps, or certainly not here. One of them, I would say, probably looks pretty interesting with, was it a serpent familiar? Is that right? Or a...
Yeah. So it
That's
is.
right.
It is in fact my eerie companion, is the mechanic the game calls it, and that would be, the character's name is Violet. She has purple skin. Her hair is actually feathers that are yellow through most of them and pink on the tips. She's about 6 feet tall with purple skin, I think I said that, and a long yellow dress with slits that go all the way up to her hips. It's got a red floral pattern on it, and underneath that she has some loose-fitting red pants and a sword made of a jawbone of like a giant snake, as well as a little snake companion that's like made out of shadow, whose name is Phantasm. And yeah, they're friends. Phantasm helps her out.
And bringing up the rear, probably with the most explosive amount of color, if I recall.
Is that me?
Oh, yes.
That's Alpaca. Alpaca is, you put it very well. Alpaca is wearing so many colors. It looks patchwork, but like in a very purposeful way, very jester-like trousers, like green and pink, much like much like watermelon Hubba Bubba bubblegum. And like this loud red shirt and like blues and yellows and pinks and purples. It's a lot. She's got, as far as you can tell, very light bluish tone to her skin, but it's mostly on the outer edges of her body, like the upsides of her hand, like the tops of her hands and her feet and her legs and stuff. But it looks like it kind of like much like her along her face and down her neck and probably down to her belly. I'm sure that Violet and Syzygy probably already know that skin there is mostly what we would consider to be white. She's got these big, enormous blue-rimmed glasses, pink, horribly fuchsia headband, trying and failing to maintain a head of just wild, quite orangey, reddish B3 hair type, curly, extremely curly, like spirals, and it's all over the place, and it just flops, and she's flops all over the place while she's moving. Her tail, she has a tail. It's about the same color as her hair. It's a bit hairy, and it's got a little tufty on the end, and she's walking along much like a monkey on the balls of her feet and her knuckles. She's got these big green eyes, and she's just looking about. She's excited, but well, more curious, shall we say, but also excited, I suppose.
I've never seen a 90-degree angle done with such precision and sharpness.
And so consistently, too.
What does B stand for? On the clothing store.
It's just the second letter in the alphabet. It just denotes that it's different than clothing store A.
Is it different?
Well, it's a secondary building. So,
Oh.
yes.
And why
Okay.
do they need a secondary building if it's the same thing?
Well, they're trying to make sure that there's enough of everything for the people here to shop and get what they need and feel like they're part of the community. And you can't just do that with one clothing store in one cafe.
But it's all the
Well,
same
that's true.
clothing.
I think that's, I think that's
B
nice
had
that
the
they're
same
providing
thing as
clothing.
A.
Well, there's 3 options, Alpaca. I don't know if you could tell the difference between them, but we're allowed to choose 3 hairstyles, 3 pieces of clothing, and 3 other things.
Well, if it's all the same, then why do they need more than one?
I'm guessing
There's
it's location.
3 options here, so that there's a little bit of a
Conveniences,
choice.
but they're on the same bloody street.
You know what?
It's
That's a
just
good
clothing
point.
A, clothing B, clothing C.
If you get boots from clothing C, can you get like a jacket from clothing
Can you
A?
match? Is it okay to match them with clothing A?
Yes, everything is pre-approved.
I don't get it. It's like uniforms at school.
It's very
precisely
similar
what
to
it is.
uniforms.
Yes.
Alpaca
Noting that,
always made
you
changes.
would see that literally everyone that you see has basically the exact same clothing. There's slight variations. You have the standard shirt, you have the standard pant or skirt or boots, but you don't have much beyond that. There's nothing stylistic about anything that they're wearing. It's all the exact same clothing. Perhaps you might see slightly darker grays, slightly lighter grays, but you see nothing of like patterns, nothing of that sort. Everyone has basically the same pre-approved clothing, as well as the same 3 hairstyles that they are allowed to choose from.
I forgot
So,
Alpaca still has the rest of that challah bread that's like a sugar crust,
Yeah,
and it's
so
giving off
are-
a very delicious aroma.
Are the people around like reacting to our presence here? Because clearly, at least 2 of us are definitely outsiders, which I'm guessing they don't.
And
get a lot
Alpaca
of.
smells nice. And everybody feels less aggressive about it, at least, according to the magics of my superpowers.
You definitely note that many eyes are on your group. A lot of them kind of widened in shock, just like, oh, they have
They
colors.
clutch their pearls.
And they kind of give you a wide berth as you guys are walking along the streets. I don't know if Quinn and Joe would kind of either consciously or subconsciously fall in that perfect line of the side that you're supposed to be walking, or if they're just kind of walking however. But I would assume perhaps Alpaca and Violet, you guys may not know this right away. It's just a wide street, a wide area to just walk about. You don't really know the specific lines you're supposed to follow, even though they're not literally laid out.
Well, Alpaca understands the flow of traffic, because Alpaca's been in many a market and such and so on. But, like, walking in a straight line doesn't make any sense. There's lots of things to see. I mean, that remains to be seen. But, of course, Alpaca's here and there and looking in this store and saying hello to anybody who passes by. And then looking in confusion as they run to the other side of the street at a brisk white man walk.
Alpaca,
Yeah?
I think that we might just do better to go kind of straight to the center of town to
That's where we're
to
going.
try. Yeah, I just mean people here might not be as friendly as you're used to.
Sometimes people aren't friendly wherever Alpaca goes. Sometimes people are all different.
You're
Yeah,
probably
I don't
best.
think that they're unfriendly. I think that they're just not used to friendly and they don't know how to deal with it.
I think you're best just keeping your head down and not talking to anybody, really. And the sooner we get to the castle, the better at this rate, because we have a lot of eyes on us. Quinn says as they're kind of like seeing the reaction to the group happening around them.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be a problem not to talk to anyone. They're looking, but they don't seem to want to talk to us. I've waved at a couple of them. They didn't wave back.
I'm so sorry. One of Alpaca's oppositional defiance. When she's told to do something, it's very hard not to do the opposite.
Oh,
I defy authority as a reflex. That's one of the things that I did with SPD.
I made eye contact with someone. Oh well, I've also got fast friends though. That's another one of my things. When I need to impress and be vulnerable with people, and that makes me easy to befriend. And when they meet them for the first time, I can ask them about their interests and their and like their lives, and then they can take a string on me, and I can take a string on them. And if I do something nice with that information, I get experience, whatever that means.
Does Joe notice anybody looking at her in particular?
Hello, want to try some of this bread? It's a sugar crust. I just made it.
Joe, you are probably paying particular attention to any enforcers that are about. They, of course, stand out with their standard uniform, and they are almost at every single corner of every single building that you do happen to pass. And they do give you kind of that look of, they raise their head, narrow their eyes, as if they're kind of expecting trouble to come from your group. But
Are you okay? You look sad. You don't have to be sad. You don't have to be sad. Want some bread?
She's 4'10",
I know.
and she's also walking on the ground on all fours like a monkey. So like she's like holding this hollow bread up.
all the way up. And
Yeah.
all enforcers, of course, have like raised boots to give them a bit more height on purpose so that they can ideally look down at everyone else.
It makes your calves look nice.
The enforcer would just kind of maybe take a step back, like a very unexpected this enthusiasm.
Are you gluten intolerant? I can make something else for you if you want. Violet, can you hold this? Please.
Oh, of course.
You can have some as well.
No,
Let's see
I
if I
will
can-
have to decline. I am only allowed what is the standard.
Oh, you've got like a specific diet. That makes sense. Do you know like the way to the castle? Violet's talking with like her mouth half full. chewing on it.
Well,
I
you're
think
not
it's
gonna
over
have it.
there.
I think it's
Awesome.
over there too. It's in the middle, right? Like
Yes,
sorry.
it is in
So it's
the
just-
center.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. So it's just like down this way. I gotta point
Yes.
just to where I
Just
assume
a
the
general,
middle is.
yeah. Yes. It's
Joe and
a-
Joe and Quinn are like got their head in their hand. They're like, oh my
just like,
God.
was this a good idea? Was this a terrible idea? They point in precisely where would be the center of the city. You can kind of see the tops of what should be the palace. It's again just a big square with some more squares on top of the big square. It's not an impressive building by any means necessary. It almost barely qualifies as even a palace, but for this place.
What's a very
suppose.
geometrical cake style?
Yes, very much.
It's taking forever to sharpen the fondant on those angles.
It's not actually made of cake.
A metaphor. And also, Alpaca was making a joke. Alpaca
I'm
was just
sorry.
making a joke. No, you
We are
don't get
not
to be
familiar
sorry.
We're not very familiar with jokes.
It's all right.
Jenny and I.
I teach you just keep making jokes, and then when you find it funny, you laugh. And if you don't find it funny, then I'll explain it, and therefore it becomes funnier by law. Because a joke is always much more funny when you explain it,
I think that
especially if
might
you
just
have
be-
to explain it.
I think it might just be a you thing, Alpaca.
Well, you
A
laugh
lot of
every.
people don't laugh when you explain your jokes.
You laugh.
Well, I laugh.
Do you not think I'm funny?
Of course, I think you're funny.
Alpaca's very funny. Guardsman, individual, where's one get a nice cup of tea right here? Hey up.
You can go to any of the cafes and you can get the standard tea.
What kind
What's
of
the
tea is it?
standard? Yeah, what's in it? It's a standard. Never heard of that.
Hot water mostly. Let's
Yeah.
keep going, guys.
Is there no
Yeah.
What do you mean hot water? That's not tea.
Quinn kind
And
of
a
just
squeeze- a
grabs
squeeze of lemon.
Alpaca's tail gently,
Whoa!
freehand styly, and kind of tries to tug them backwards a little bit.
Jeez, I didn't know you felt that way about me, Quinn, and we're in public.
Quinn has not noticed that at all and is just continuing to gently tug your tail towards the other direction.
Coincidentally, you do happen to walk by Cafe ZAQ.
What's Zach? Who? Cafe Zach. Who's Zach? Is Zach the one who owns it?
Didn't even
No,
think of
it's
that as a-
No.
Z-A-Q.
Is it Zach's Cafe?
They're just letters. They mean nothing.
It's not us. It's just to denote which one it is.
Well, that's the name. That's a name. That denotes which one and who you are. Not necessarily who you are. You can always change your name if you don't like it. But
The
Zach is.
self-same reign owns everything here. There's no individual ownership.
Oh,
of the
so
buildings
it's
or
it's a
the
chain.
businesses.
It's a chain restaurant cafe.
It's more like
More
a
or less.
capitalistic
Yeah,
restaurant.
chain
cafe.
restaurant. That's a chain. Yeah.
Okay. I
Don't
don't
got too many of
think
those.
that the tea will be very much to your liking. Perhaps we could.
She's
get
already
some
pushing open the
refreshments.
door.
Alpaca is gone, as you're saying.
I want
bet
to.
we
I
could
want to.
get
I want to
Some
try
good
it.
tea at the castle. The castle probably has some better tea.
Why would the cat? Well, she's got the door halfway open. She looks over and she's like, "Why would the castle have better tea if everyone's supposed to drink the same thing? It's probably the same here. If it's the same here, then that's holding to your oneself to a high standard, isn't it?" And she goes and she just goes on in, and pulls you by her tail. She grabs the other end of her tail and pulls you in with her.
Joe kind
Not
of
really.
goes over to Quinn and says, "It was a nice try. I thought it was going to work too, but
Well,
there's no
I
better
think
tea, obviously."
we
I'm very logical.
We can't
Alpaca
just
is
leave-
very logical.
we can't just leave him here to fend for himself. So we'd better at least stick around and make sure that they don't get swooped up.
She comes
the
out
enforcers.
and she's got a standard to go mug, standard top. It's very cylindrical, extremely so. I imagine. And
Perfectly so.
and when you crack the opening portion, it clicks into place with a very satisfying.
Oh, that's nice. I like that.
And she takes it and she's like,
This is a standard, they said. I think they forgot to put tea in it.
she goes back in.
Yes, it's usually just hot water. We can sip it on the way to the castle, though, Alpaca.
And she comes back out.
Okay, let's try this then.
It's comforting, right? Just the hot water. I mean, it's nourishing.
This isn't tea.
It's not even hot. It's just tepid
This
water.
isn't tea. This is tepid leaf juice. It's a
Alpaca,
slightly
don't
off.
Did they
It's a slightly off color.
Did they add leaf juice for you? That was kind.
That's it's not tea. This isn't tea. Tea
Alpaca,
involves a.
Don't you have like some dried mint or something with you?
Oh, yeah.
That you could,
Yeah.
Maybe you can make a mint tea.
I was hoping to try the standard, but this is not a stand. This can't be the standard.
Violet looks around and is like, I
And they
think
only
it
have
might
one
be
size.
Standard here.
It's only one size, and it's a medium. And I have to say, based off of,
Standard size.
It's medium standard. That doesn't make any, for one thing, that doesn't make any sense. For two thing, the only way if this cup is a medium is if it can talk to the bloody dead. And this isn't tea.
Alpaca, I know this is a shock, especially considering where you're probably from. But that is how things are here.
No,
That's why we want to bring
puts
the
the cup
color
on the
back
ground.
to this place.
All right, that's
This
fine. Let's
isn't
keep going. She
a way to
pops the
live.
top off. We're going to the palace. We got to talk to that lady. She's got a thing
I
or
think
two
we
that she's got
do.
to learn. And she's like walking along. She's like digging through her pouches and stuff, and she's like putting things into the water and stuff, and like using her baking magic to make it warm.
Letting Violet try it every now and then.
She's like, does it need more? What does it need? A bit more oolong?
Yeah. Do you have any sweeteners?
I do.
Yeah. And like some oat milk.
Of course,
We're like
gender
halfway
fluid.
we're like halfway to a masala chai. That's all I'm saying.
That sounds
Yeah.
delicious, honestly. Just need a bit more of it. Cloves.
As you are doing this, you're bringing out all these flavors and spices and everything. You guys smell them as you're adding to the hot water, basically, is really all it was. And literal, just like it's hot water, and they put a leaf in there. Tea.
I told you, hot leaf juice.
It's not
leaf
even
is
a
a-
tea leaf.
It's a leaf. It's a
leaf.
garnish. It's a bloody piece of parsley that has no flavor.
It's like a bay leaf.
Yes.
A bay leaf has more flavor.
These smells are kind of getting even more attention to your group. You happen to pass by Bakery GJ.
A bakery.
and
GJ.
You see a person walking out in the storefront, and they seem to be walking towards you guys a bit cautiously, and they have the standard apron for Baker GJ to associate, of course, with their bakery. And they
Hello.
kinda, like look up at you. They have the standard updo hair, and you can just see the curiosity in their dull gray eyes.
How you doing? Oh dear, your ponytail's really tight. It looks like it's pulling on your forehead. Are you okay?
Yes. Thank you. That's the standard I do. What is that odd smell?
It's
Don't
either
understand.
it's either the challah bread if there's any left over from Violet, or it's would you say it's a masala chai, or like adjacent? It's adjacent. Masala chai adjacent. It's a bit MacGyvered, if I'm being honest. You want to try it? Just take a little
And-
sip.
They look very nervously around. You get the sense that what they're
Oh.
doing may be frowned upon. Seeing if there's any enforcers about. And there
Look,
are
it's
a
grey.
couple not too far away that
It's more of a beige.
are
grey,
very
but-
pointedly looking in your direction. And
You want some too? Hello.
oh, and at
Alpaca,
that, they start walking towards you. And the
Alpaca,
baker
I think
immediately cringes and begins to, never mind. And
I'll-
rushes
I slip her some
Alpaca,
challah.
you're going to get these people into trouble with the enforcers.
For drinking a cup of tea.
Yeah, it's not standard. It's not approved.
It's got a standard on the cup.
We got.
That's a standard medium.
Can we?
Barista,
Can we-
could you please dispose of this? Thank you. And she winks at them. All right, let's go.
The two enforcers block your path as you
Hello.
try to get around them, but they make
Excuse me.
sure to get in the way.
Oh, pardon me.
And
Are you going left? I'm going right. Okay. Hello.
Quinn kind
you
of
are new
like
here, clearly.
Quinn gets ready to unsheath their sword, their hidden sword. They just
Oh,
kind of like
dear.
put their arm out at an angle, just like in preparation. Continue.
You can see that all enforcers are allowed to have the standard sword as well. Both of them have their hands lightly, but pointedly resting on their
ACAB.
swords. You are allowed to have whatever it is that your colorful kind indulges in,
Excuse me?
but not ours. We would prefer if you did not taint the perfection of our people. If you have
Yes.
business, let it be done.
We're just
She-
on our way to our appointment with Empress Constance. We did not mean to derail anything. Our friends here are new and they have not had time to learn about the customs. We'll be on our way
Violet.
shortly.
Violet, did that sound racist to you, or is it just me?
It sounded something.
Sounded really fucking racist. If it's one thing I
Alpaca.
don't like.
Alpaca.
Yes. I'm just gonna, just
Joe
gonna talk
Joe
to him.
kind of pats your head a little bit, like it's okay. We're just
Oh,
going
no,
straight.
it's not.
I know. It's not okay.
The one that was speaking is going to lean down towards Alpaca specifically, and you can see this horrible grin.
She stands up on her hind legs and meets him halfway.
Ah. You will comply with our rules. Yes.
If it gets us to where we're going, sure.
That is not an appropriate answer. Yes?
You did
or
just say that
no?
an outsider doesn't have to comply exactly with your rules, now
You
doesn't
said
it?
that. You said that we can have.
You literally just
whatever we want.
said that. You did say well, not whatever we want, but you did say. I'm just trying. I don't want to quote the law back at you, officer. Anyway, deepest apologies.
And she does like a really deep bow and curtsy.
Deepest apologies. We'll be on our way.
You
yes,
will.
we'll be on our way. You shan't see us again.
Is there a... yeah, no, certainly not. Could you point me in the direction of a standard general store? I want to try and pick you up a standard mint. Just out of the
Yeah.
goodness of... Just as a gesture of peace and friendship.
There are no mints. There are no
Standard
mints.
friendship.
You do
No
see
mint
kind of
left.
confusion cross their face at this word mint, because that means nothing to them. Flavor is outlawed here. They can't
brush their
have
teeth with
flavor.
baking soda paste. So just let's go. Let's get out of here.
What do I have to
Yeah.
roll to slip a sprig of mint into his pocket? With a
You're
little
trying
note
to
that said,
cause trouble, huh?
"This is mint." No, she's trying to cause insurrection at the lower parts of the town. We maybe have gone off from the scene, but that baker still left with that cup of tea. Who knows what they did? They were going to dispose of it. And disposing of it doesn't mean not drinking it.
That is a very good point. The other enforcer would ensure that baker tosses that tainted cup of tea. So you see that other enforcer go into the bakery.
They're gonna go have a taste, I know it. Anyway.
I would say it's
First
oppositional
one.
defiance for me to slip that
Okay.
into his pocket.
Go ahead and read what that does. What does that entail?
You defy authority as a reflex. If someone tells you to do something, even if it's something you wanted to do, your instinct is not to do it. If you directly defy authority, gain a string on that person. If you comply, they gain a string on you.
What's
If
your
they comply.
designation?
Did you kind of comply because you are in fact just moving on? and not interfering
I'm not
anymore like
moving
you
on. I'm
wanted?
sticking a sprig of mint in his pocket as a sign of
Oh,
opposition
okay,
because
that's
that's what
fine, yeah.
mint is.
If it's acceptable by the game master.
I would say,
If not, that's okay. We can just keep going.
see, maybe Grace?
Not even
Sounds like-
kidding. That's a 6 and a 5, and I have a +1 in grace.
Beautifully done. Excellent. Yeah, you managed to just definitely
She does it with her
slip
tail.
that right in. Oh, even better.
The tuft of her tail, like very Dr. Seuss. It's like a hand. It goes plink, wunk.
So yeah, you managed to secretly kind of plop that in there and slip on by, and that enforcer just seems a bit stunned and does not pursue you guys, just kind of lets you continue on. It seemed as if this was building up to a confrontation that you probably did not want to deal with,
No, we didn't.
but Alpaca managed to just
Breeze
mosey
right through
on
it.
through.
As we begin to walk away, Quinn kind of walks next to Alpaca and like leans their head down slightly and just says, Alpaca, I know this is difficult for you, but there will be a time and a place where your rage will matter. Just try and hold it a little bit longer.
It's not rage for me, Quinn. It's rage for all of you.
Well, regardless of where it comes from, sometimes there's a time for it, and other times we have to hold it back. At least that's what we've been taught here.
I don't like it. Also, his breath was really bad.
I know, but
He might have
hopefully we can change
gingivitis.
that soon. Good thing you gave
Is there
him
a
mint.
standard dentist? He's got gingivitis. His breath was bloody awful.
Yeah, they're
Or he
enough
just drank your
dentists for
standard
everyone.
tea.
You might have just had a cup of your standard tea, whatever that is. How's my breath?
You all move on. Does anyone take any time to look back? Or
Oh, yeah.
are you just going forward?
Alpaca is like eyes everywhere. Like occasionally she'll
Okay.
even take off her glasses at some point. And she'll like,
Yeah, I want to say Violet's probably looking around quite a bit as well, just because she's kind of in awe of how uniform this place really is. Like, she'd heard about it, but she did not believe that it was to the extent that it is.
You know,
Fair.
yeah, same thing, because the last time I saw organization to this extent and the uniformation at this extent, it was a rescue mission to free your people.
I don't think that I've ever seen organization to this extent.
Violet,
Usually-
I would also say that Phantasm is also your extra pair of eyes. And, like, kind of gives you, like, a little tap on the shoulder and kind of, like, points with their slithery tail to look just past where you have already walked towards that bakery that you guys had stopped by briefly. And you managed to catch, and Alpaca, I would say as well, Quinn and Joe, you guys are just very, like, we need to get there, we need to get through this as quickly as possible. It's already been too much. Violet and Alpaca, you do happen to see the enforcer dragging that baker out. Cup in one hand, baker in the other arm. The baker, you can just hear faint calls of, no, I didn't mean to. Before the enforcer shoves the baker into the street, and you can see gestures. That second enforcer that did speak with you guys joins them. Joe and Quinn, you hear this commotion. This catches your attention as well. You know what this is, what this scene is leading to. This person is very likely being taken to the fixer.
We need to go before we cause any more harm.
I agree.
The,
we
the baker
we need
didn't
to get this
do
finished.
anything wrong.
For them, for this place, they say that is wrong.
Their curiosity was
We can't change things from here. We
We can change things for that baker.
I mean, but there are way more of the enforcers. We need to change it from the top down.
Alpaca's gone. Sorry.
we should go get them.
We should go help them.
I think Journey is right, and Journey and I have the most experience here. The sooner we can go speak to Empress Constance and work on reversing the self-same rain, the better it'll be for everybody in the long run. Instead of trying to help each individual person, we need to help everybody as a group.
Come one, come all, come see how well you can resist temptation.
Violet looks to Quinn and says, "You and Joe didn't change anything for the better while you were here. Maybe you need to try it our way," and then just walks off in the direction of the baker.
Oh,
Ooh.
fuck.
I feel like that's gotta pull on something.
Yeah, something.
All the strings, all of them.
Did I gain
Every
a string
single
on
one.
that guard via that
Yes.
mint planting, BT dubs?
Probably.
You did,
Yeah.
yes. Yes, you did.
I don't think he gave me his designation.
That would be
I'll just call him Enforcer Bad Breath.
Bad breath. Beautiful.
He is
Keisha-
BB, actually. It's weird.
BB.
He is Enforcer BB. Just a weird
Yeah.
coincidence.
Hey,
Happens to
BB.
be BB Enforcer.
Keisha, would you consider what Violet just said to Quinn something that would give me feelings?
I would certainly consider that. Yes.
Not
Okay.
not good feelings.
Nope,
No,
but feelings.
but I have some feelings.
Violet probably should be sorry. She's not currently.
That's fine.
That is totally fair. How does Joe have any? Go ahead. Yeah, continue.
I was gonna say that Quinn just like looks at Joe. You can't really tell, but they're getting to be close to frustrated. And they say, "We need to do something. This is getting out of hand, and it's gonna cause more problems than they already have."
So I glanced at it. It sounds like the way conditions are applied is by making characters stagger. One of the outcomes of the stagger move is to take on conditions. So if we make Joe stagger, Aaryn gets to choose currently at 0 to 3 conditions. You get to choose whether you want to take conditions or one of the other options, lash out at someone, hesitate, or stumble.
I thought you did this to Quinn, though.
I guess it's kind of both of you. Like, I
It
was
could
responding
be.
to Quinn because Quinn spoke most recently, but it, like, overall, I think it was to both of you of, like,
I
this
think
person's
it's more
in
of a.
trouble. We're supposed to help them.
Would you? It's kind of up to you guys if this is kind of an emotional blow that would affect your character. If so, this would be. That may have been a staggering move, but that's, I would say, up to you if it would qualify for that heavy of a blow.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was all of the blow. Like, whatever blow it could take, Joe's
Yeah,
done.
okay.
Like, Joe
So
is broken.
Joe definitely is staggered. Would you say Quinn as well?
Yes, I think that
Okay.
would definitely throw Quinn off quite a bit. They wouldn't show it, but I think they would
Sure.
hesitate for sure.
So yes, stagger, you have 3 options. You can lash out at someone whose regard matters to you, provoke them to do something foolish or harmful and take advantage of a string on them. You can hesitate or stumble, giving them opposition, giving them an opportunity. You grin and bear it, and you mark 2 conditions.
Ooh,
I
I,
think
actually
I'm-
think Quinn would grin and bear it then and mark 2
Yeah,
conditions.
I'm gonna take
Okay.
guilty and hopeless.
Okay, so go ahead and
Yeah,
mark
I'm gonna
those.
take guilty and angry.
Yeah.
All right. All right, and having conditions does affect your characters with future and potential roles, unless if there are ways to try and remove those conditions. But at this time, it seems that the party is a bit divided. There's just the tiniest little crack in this group, and we'll see if that crack grows or if you find a way to mend it. So Alpaca, you had left pretty quickly earlier seeing this. Where did you go? What is it that you were doing?
She went immediately back to that strip in front of the bakery and the cafes and whatnot. And she called out what she called out. come one, come all, and see if you can resist temptation, the wonders of the thing of worlds outside. And essentially, I am going to be activating one of my obsession move,
Okay.
which is a move that I can take from another playbook as someone who is obsessed with collecting hobbies, sometimes to my own detriment. And I have chosen a move from the Troubadour playbook. The move is called Number of the Beast. When you transgress societal norms to attract attention, you become the center of attention and roll plus spirit.
Okay. So currently you're trying to get all attention on yourself.
Mhm. And use that center of attention as a way to bargain, as if this is something to test the resolve of the people and whatnot, I guess, to like, it's a show. She's trying to put on some sort of a show here and convince these enforcers and any of the people that are around that no one is at fault here. This was merely a test, and you can only grow from your mistakes. But the problem is, you didn't make a mistake. She's trying to start grassroots stuff. She's trying to plant the seeds of doubt, quite literally dropping seeds from her belt. Because where do things grow? Asphalt.
Alpaca may have noticed that this place is perfectly clean and clear of any kind of plant life, that is for sure. As just kind of like a side note as well.
Not for long.
But yes, you make that declaration.
She threw so much clover seed.
Everywhere.
That's what she threw when she said that. Resist temptation.
The two enforcers look your way. One of them has already drawn his blade, and the other one still is firmly holding on to the arm of the baker. You see, now that you have gotten close again, the hand that she had used to kind of take away that cup, the sleeve had fallen a little bit, and you see just a hint of color right on her wrist, just the barest little hint, a splash of this very, very light pink. You probably would have missed it if not for the fact that they're all gray, so any kind of coloring it would be like a beacon in the night. The two enforcers look towards you, and the one who has drawn his blade steps towards you, Alpaca. At this point, Violet, you are just behind as well. Quinn
My
and Joe
sword's
are
drawn,
a little bit.
I will add.
Let me show
Okay,
you
yeah.
something. Let me
Because
show
if
you
the guard-
something.
The guard's drawing a sword, so am I.
Let me show you something. There's this hobby, it's called painting. And I don't have any paints on me right now because I've since put that hobby to the side for a little bit. But hear me out. Finger painting.
She reaches out and she starts touching, just hurrying past people, and she's literally finger painting on things that she touches. And she makes sure as she's passing around that she smears it on the inside of the wrist of this person,
Oh,
just for safety's sake, but also
nice.
trying to lead to inspiration. Every finger is like your standard food color, like the yellow, the green, the blue, the red. And I do get to roll by using this move. I can roll whenever you want me to. There are a series
please.
of okay.
Yep. You can see that the enforcers, they're focused on you, but the one that was holding on to the baker may have caught that color on the wrist. Perhaps that's what's leading to this, but is kind of unsure. And
I smeared it
coming
on his hand,
around
too.
And just smearing everything. Yeah, go ahead, make that roll.
So I just barely succeeded here because I rolled an 11 and I have a -1 spirit. On a 10 plus, your transgressive music inspires your audience to work together.
I don't know exactly why I taught this to hate color the way you do. And hating is not a standard thing, it's a taught thing. To try and equalize a people, you don't take the ones who excel or are more skilled in one way or another and bring them down. You give the ones who aren't there yet the tools to succeed and exceed. It's a taste. Everyone was born with taste. Some people don't actually. That's like a thing with like it's like anosmia where you can't smell anything, you know. But like, you can't put a collar weighted down with chains on someone just because they're tall to make them stoop. Try finger painting once in a while, for fuck's sake. It was my cup of tea. It's my fault. I was obviously sent here by whatever powers that be to test all of your resolve and to see if it's worth it. You can't punish people for love.
So you make this speech, and you don't have to speak very loudly because the crowd around you has quieted and your voice carries. And you had reached out, spreading paint here and there, smearing it, all these colors all across on the gray stone and the gray wood and maybe the gray collars of some of the people and sleeves. So they're all seeing these little splatters of color and they're listening to your words.
She's twisting unicorn bread with her colorful fingers with her flowers.
Perfect. Even better. And you know that you are reaching so many of these people. Some of them, sure, maybe mainly to the backs of the enforcers. You're starting to see heads nodding. You see glimpses of some of them looking down at these colors and looking at specific ones as if they resonate with those colors, as if something's starting to click here. The two enforcers seem uncomfortable with this situation, but are still trying to hold fast. This is their job. This is what they were taught to do. This is the way that they're supposed to be. And you see the one with the drawn sword say, well, you can go and try to disrupt our system, but this system is in place so that we don't have these scuffles, we don't have these sort of things to raise some higher above others. This is the only way. If all are treated the same, seen the same, then we are the same. That way, there is no love, but there is no hatred. It is the best of both worlds by having none of it. Spreading this chaos will only give reason for people to want to fight with each other, to want to turn away from certain others because they don't think the same way or look the same way. This is how we are shown, this is how we are raised, this is the self-same reign. This is
And yet you turn away from me because I look different. And I wear something different because I don't look the same as you do. And there's nothing wrong with differences. I know. But you've got your barrier up, and you think that this is a contained thing, that everything is perfect here, but it's not. Whatever's going on is leaking out into the world beyond. Have you even seen what it looks like out there anymore? Do you remember what it looks like out there? It's starting to bleed into the environment. Pretty soon you're going to have nothing but a grey ball of dust to live on. And
the two enforcers look at each other. As you're saying this, you get the sense that no, they know nothing outside these walls.
Check your pocket, bad breath.
His hand goes to his pocket, and then he pulls out what you had placed there.
Sprig of mint.
And
that's mint. Even if you throw that on the ground right now, the mint left something with you, and you can smell it. There's nothing wrong with brushing your teeth with baking soda. In fact, it's actually much better than some toothpastes that are out there mass marketing. But just because you do that, just because someone said it was this way or has to be this way, you didn't stop to think whether or not you should. You don't have to be the product of your environment. That's not how it works. You can be influenced by it, yeah. But I don't know, I just feel like It's not equality. It's not there's not envy here. You know, there are 4 causes of war or hatred, as you say it. And one of the reasons that it exists is freedom. Because that's worth fighting for. And also, sometimes infighting and wrong things happen because of some king's lies.
The enforcer looks down, holding that sprig in his hand, and he closes his fist. Maybe not necessarily crushing it, but at least hiding it from view. And he lowers his hand, he looks at his partner, and kind of let that one go. And the other enforcer releases the baker. And the two look around at everyone and kind of gesture like, get back to work, get back to what you're doing, the spectacle is over. But he looks down at you, Alpaca, and he says, I think it's best that you go see the Empress sooner than later. We have some
After this,
cleanup
I
to do.
will. After this, I will. I'm not asking you to change overnight or anything. It takes a long time to unlearn and to recognize and to find a way through and past your trauma, especially if it's a generational thing. Don't let anybody tell you that you're wrong for feeling emotions. Anger isn't a bad emotion. It's just there. It's just anger. Sometimes even hatred. Like, I hate tomatoes.
Alpaca can take a string on Quinn because they were secretly very moved and impressed with that whole speech that she just gave.
The
Sorry that I
enforcer,
caused a ruckus.
he just holds up a hand, just stop.
Okay.
I can't hear any more of your
Okay.
words.
Okay.
I need you to just move on.
Can I ask you one more question, please?
Yes.
And I will give you something in return. What's your name? My name's Alpaca.
Enforcer BB.
What's your name? That's your designation. What's your nomenclature?
I never really learned my name, but I started to. I know it starts with Ollie.
I hope you learn the rest of your name, Ollie. Or even get a nickname that you like. I think that a good contender might be Ollie Oxenfree.
It's better than bad breath.
Yeah. You know, you can put you can put a leaf of that, if you break it off with a stem, you can put it in your mouth. I'll say you bye.
Okay, bye.
Toodles. Okay, bye.
So Alpaca turns away.
She
and I would say-
grabs like Violet's like robes or skirts or something and just like tugs on it like a
Yeah,
child.
Violet, you were there, right by Alpaca, just in case if things were about to get down. Your sword is drawn and everything.
Thank you for coming for me. To
Of
help
course,
me.
Alpaca. You were doing
I
the
would
right thing,
say,
and you did a great job. I didn't even need to hit anyone. You saw me, right? I had my sword out
I
and
did.
everything.
I did. That's actually why I got so ballsy, to be honest with you.
since Alpaca had turned away and Violet, you were still kind of facing forward, you have a moment of locking eyes with that enforcer, and you swear you see just an inkling of green in that enforcer's eyes. As soon as that enforcer had said something along the lines of, I don't know my name, but I know it begins something like Ollie, you have this understanding of they're getting close, and it's not complete, as if he's about to realize who his true Vivation inner self is supposed to be, but he's not quite there yet, and it's just about, but not quite. So with that, the two of you turn away, and the scene has ended. The two enforcers are at work trying to scrub away the paint that has splattered everywhere. But maybe a couple of green splotches might have gotten missed. The baker sees you leaving and turns as if to follow. You guys kind of regroup, going back to where Joe and Quinn were kind of left with that blow, that emotional blow from earlier. And this is probably actually a good place to stop right there, of how you guys kind of reconnect
Man.
after that and continue on.
Emotions happening.
I have a tear. I have tears.
Thank you so much for joining us. We will be back with you with our final episode next week.
Yay.
Toodaloo.
I'm gonna get a glass case of emotion.
Hey everybody! Welcome back to Even Footing Games Presents podcast. We're back again playing Thirsty Sword Lesbians, which will likely be the finale of this adventure. I'm Kayla from Even Footing Games, but you mostly know me from the Potions and Potpourri podcast, where me and my co-host Keisha get together to talk about stuff, do some live plays, interview people in the space, and just be goofy goobers over there on that show. I'm also part of Even Footing Games, like I said already, where I just direct vibes over there. And joined with me are some lovely guests, including somebody else from Even Footing Games, Aaryn.
Hey, I'm Aaryn. I'm the business director at Even Footing Games, and I don't direct vibes. I leave that all up to Kayla. But we've got some other guests with us. How about Cedar?
Hi, my name is Cedar the Barefoot. I am Cedar the Barefoot all across the social medias that I am on, and I'm on pretty much all of them. Sometimes I show up in random podcasts, sometimes I show up in random streams, and so on and so forth, all over the place. You may know me from TikTok, on Twitch, the Voctaire, and now I'm here. I'm definitely not being held against my will.
You're here, and you're also
Definitely.
queer.
I'm fabulous. Don't mess with us. Hey, hey, ho, ho. Queerphobia has got to go. Yeah, at me.
It sure is my turn. Hi, I'm Penny. You can find me across the internet at PennyLessGroach. I talk about TTRPGs a lot. You can find me on TikTok mostly, or in my Discord, Titterpig Academy, where I teach people how to play a bunch of different role-playing games. So if you like role-playing games, maybe you want to check that out. And yeah, last we have the other host of Potions and Potpourri, Keisha.
Hi, that's me, Keisha. I don't really have much. I'm just the other half of Potions and Potpourri.
And also the Thirstmaster of this whole game that we're playing.
Yes.
And
Yep.
haver of fabulous curls.
Aw, thanks. I try. We were picking up our Thirsty Sword Lesbians quest. Last we saw our gal paladins. They are inside of the city, once Vivacia, now lackluster. They got a little bit of a taste, or a lack of what this place is, what it's like. It's very square, it's very dull, it's very gray, and it is very, very not good, honestly. You were trying to make your way straight to the Empress, but kind of got sidetracked with a baker in a situation of a couple enforcers. Luckily, Alpaca managed to kind of ease the tension a little bit by flinging color everywhere and having a very heartfelt speech that touched many around, including the enforcers. So you guys are now kind of re-meeting up after that. Violet did say an emotional blow to Quinn and Joe, which staggered both of them. It was something that they were not really prepared for and really struck true. They are two who are from this place and had escaped it with no intentions of necessarily coming back, and yet here they are. And now they have to try and figure out how to move forward. So Quinn and Joe, we're going to start with you guys, as Alpaca and Violet were in the midst of that confrontation. What were you guys feeling? What was happening?
I think that Joe was really concerned with the fact that somebody was going to have to go to a fixer. And I think that brought up a lot for her. And I think she also did not want to see enforcers doing the job that she left behind.
How's Quinn doing?
Quinn was feeling really anxious about the interaction with Alpaca and the baker and the enforcers, and they were just kind of like on the edge the whole time, getting ready to fight or whatever they needed to do. But then Alpaca really turned the tides and said that really great speech about how you have to have all of the emotions to be able to be happy and have a life, even if that means having a little bit of the bad in it as well. And that really struck a chord in Quinn. And they actually are, they got a string on Alpaca from that, but they actually are really, really thinking about Alpaca in a new light than what they were earlier when we got to the city.
All right, so you two had kind of stayed behind while that was going on, and eventually, rather quickly, honestly, it did get resolved. Alpaca and Violet are now coming back towards you guys. Violet, how are you feeling after all of this? You had said some words to the other two before kind of leaving them in the dust, so to speak, and now you're rejoining the party.
Violet, I don't think she really realized the full impact of the words of what she said to Joe and Quinn. She was far more concerned about the baker and about Alpaca, and I think coming back, she's just really proud of Alpaca, of the way that she stood up and the impact that she was able to make. And kind of was like, Alpaca, you did a great job. Like you can see it. You planted the seeds, not like the literal seeds, which you did plant, but you planted the seed of like hope in these people.
I hope so.
Violet's just going to like entirely pick up Alpaca. Alpaca's 4'10" and Violet's 6 foot tall. So she's just gonna pick her up and carry her on her
Just
shoulder.
like wraps her tail around you. Like,
Aww.
Phantasm kind of crawls up around you and on your shoulders now.
Thank you, Fanta.
Joe just kind of really emotionless, really flat affected, even more so. Like before, she was kind of worried about Alpaca, and she is feeling particularly hopeless right now because that's a condition she has. And she's like, I guess we should just continue on to the city center and try to do our best. I mean, I don't know what it's going to do, but
I know it was my fault. I'm the problem. It's me. I. But I
think
remember what you said when we were talking and about what they do to people and what you've seen happen or had part of it. And I didn't want you to see that again or feel like you was your fault.
yeah, I the thing is that you made a difference with one, and I mean, there was a time when that I had a difference made with me, and I left, and that was all I could do. And
It doesn't make you a bad person.
I don't know.
You didn't fail your people because you left.
Literally what Violet just said, but I'm gonna
True.
do my best now by talking to Constance, but that's the best I can do right now.
Alpaca, I came here believing, and we even said it to you not that long ago, that change couldn't be affected that quickly by just one person. But you've already proved that wrong just now with how you handled that. I still believe that talking to Empress Constance will be a quicker resolution. That doesn't mean that's the only way to solve this.
It usually has to start with the people. The lawmakers and the law speakers can't. The change doesn't happen like that because they're not the same people that they were when they were just a people. Alpaca never really told you anybody this, but Alpaca comes from a world where, at one point, there was one lord who owned all land and we were slaves from the hour of our birth to him. But he gave us peace. But we didn't own ourselves or anything. And it was all because someone asked for anything that made a person lift their hand in war or hatred or foul word or stirring sword. People make war and control and what I say to Ollie back there, something like, I don't know, I said something and I don't remember what I said, but they did that on my world and we and then they gave it all back to us because we decided that we weren't going to take it no more because we didn't want to be slaves from the hour of birth. And there's no lords on my world anymore. No one obeys another man or woman or them or whatever.
That's the first time I've seen there be any glimmer of hope in Lackluster. And even you even brought traces of color back for the first time in a long time, which makes me believe that that's something that we can actually accomplish.
That's right, I did. I'm really messy. Does anybody have a napkin? Although I do think I'm going to take up painting again because I just realised that you can paint like you're making bread. It's called finger paint.
The problem is that I have seen hope in people before, and I've seen people have that hope stamped out of them by the enforcers, so I know that it exists here. But until things change, I don't know how they can continue.
Starts with one person and it keeps going to other people. They have to realize that what's happening is wrong.
Yeah, no, lots of people do, and they go to the fixers.
We need that one person to be Empress Constance. That's the only way we can get the chains to last.
But what if we convince Constance and it's just because of this meteor that fell down, which I still really have an interest in, because what if it actually balances, it could be like synthesized to balance flavor on a dish if you accidentally add too much salt to too much sugar.
I mean, I think a meteor that like takes away all of the color from a place probably doesn't have a lot of flavor. It probably sucks in like
exactly. That's what I mean. It could balance the dish. I could use it to take out too much salt. Are you picking up what I'm putting down?
Yeah,
it's my new obsession.
I guess I see what you're saying. I do think we should see Empress Constance, though. I think.
All right. For wealth, or land, for life, or freedom, or some king's lies, or a meteor. Let's go. I'll try and be quieter, not cause as much of a fuss.
That's exactly what we needed to happen there, Alpaca. You stood up for people who were different, and that's why we're here.
Alpaca, we told you to be quiet, and you said, go fuck yourselves, and it was the best possible outcome it could have been.
Oh, I didn't do that. I wouldn't speak to you that way. I mean, unless you started speaking to me that way, but I'd be very confused, because I thought we were friends.
That was a metaphor, Alpaca.
Go fuck yourself as a metaphor? Well, fuck me. That's interesting. All right. Let's go tell Constance to go fuck herself.
We used to have colorful language around here. I vaguely remember that.
Do you have another word for fuck? I'm not talking about intercourse. I know that's Syzygy's way of referring to it.
No, I don't think we do.
I don't remember.
A lot of this word's been lost.
Joe just kind of starts walking toward the center of town, but keeps her head down and...
Oi, hold on a second. Mwah! Give her a kiss on the cheek.
I have a question. With all of the emotion that Quinn has been feeling, do we see some color on them now?
That's a good question. I'm not sure how that would play out in my playbook. I wonder if my colors wouldn't start to come out until I max out on my feelings.
Maybe you can see it like on the inside of your mask, but we can't
Like a
see it.
meter.
Yeah.
It's like beep, beep, beep. Yeah. Color detect.
But what do you think, Keisha, about that? That's a good
That-
question.
So, one will find when they are true to themselves of who they are and freely express it, that is when their color shines brightest. So, the closer you get to your true self and showing it without hiding, the more
Yeah.
it'll come out and
Okay.
appear.
So yeah, I think being maxed out on my feelings some of those colors will like pop out really aggressively. But being
Yeah.
back and lackluster just really minimizes Quinn in a way that they've never been minimized before, which is part of the reason why they had to leave. So they're just very as gray and drab as they possibly could be.
Lackluster doesn't decide what you get to be. Remember that. Remember that when we were outside of that dome that you were full of color.
That's
do
true.
remember.
And
We
you like
did get-
japchae stir fry.
And we did make it out before.
You did.
I know.
And our ship's waiting. We're gonna make
That
it
means
back
it can
there.
be beat. Here,
So while all of you
I'll
were
lead the way, hold my
discussing
tail.
this, a baker that you had basically saved from the enforcers was kind of like timidly trying to get your attention, but you guys are all kind of like walking,
We're having a
and
moment,
she keeps
yeah.
getting in the wrong lane, and she's just like, uh,
Hello.
but eventually she
Are
does
you
catch up to
okay?
you guys. And she looks to Violet and Alpaca, and if one could blush, she probably would be, but with just having just that gray, dull skin, you can't really see it. Maybe it's like slightly darker gray patches on her cheeks, but she kind of like looks down at her feet and she just kind of very voice shaking says, Thank you so much for helping. I wanted to. I guess I already did. I guess I'll be going now then.
No, not at
um,
all. And,
It was no
of course,
problem.
Yeah, like of course we're going to help you. That's why we're here.
We don't pull
Yeah.
others down to try and equalize each other, and we like to lift others up.
It
Do you
was
have a name?
wonderful thing. Oh, well, besides my baker, and she kind of gestures at her apron. But my real name, I think, is Rose.
Rose. Oh,
That's
give
a
me
very
a
pretty
second.
name.
Puts a fist in her bag while she.
Keep talking.
My name's
And-
Violet, so like we're both named after flowers.
We're talking and walking.
She would look up directly at Violet and like just have just the biggest little smile on her face, like, oh, I like that. That's lovely. You're lovely. And saying that, she finally has the courage to like actually look up at all of you, and she seems to be feeling a bit more at ease, like her tense shoulders kind of like drop a little bit with this feeling of acceptance among your group. And it's not until when she's looking over at Quinn and then at Joe where her face suddenly freezes with recognition and then falls a bit, and she takes a step back. And
Well, I kind
Joe,
of fucked
with
up. It's
you-
like a rosebud. Here you go. It's a rose bun. Ha! What's happening? You look tense. What's happening?
She doesn't seem to acknowledge us as she looks and locks on to Joe. And Joe, you immediately recognize. I think I need to go. Good. luck
No,
with what you're
I
doing."
need to go. You stay. I'll leave. And
Joe, no. Journey. Please stay. Rose, please stay.
I
I don't
It's-
think I can.
You don't have to stay, but
I
you can.
came. I left right after, and I'm trying to do a move that's called "Make It Right." And
gonna sob.
yeah, you were the reason I left. You and Cersei. It was I knew it was wrong. And it was the worst thing I have ever done. And I'm so sorry.
So Joe is showing emotion before all of you guys. Perhaps Quinn is maybe even the most taken aback, because this is something that is not done where you are from. It is almost shameful. It's reason to be taken to the fixer, if anything. So it is a surprise to see that from Joe. What does that move entail?
Okay, so when I allow myself to be vulnerable to somebody I hurt during my villainous past, they choose one. They can decline to engage and they gain a string on me. They can lash out and I'll stagger. They can mark XP and give me a task to help make amends. They can show vulnerability and I would take one forward. Or they could forgive me and I can clear a condition.
So Rose, at first, after noticing you, almost immediately tried to look away and had kind of turned as if she was going to leave. But then you spoke out. That made her stop. You see her shoulders drop. She takes a breath and releases it. She slowly turns. She lifts her head to face you, Joe. And you can feel that steel resolve take over in her posture. Though she is small and probably a bit shorter than you, she still seems as if she's towering over you in this moment. And she says, "You said it was hard for you to do that. Well, it was hard for me to go through it. But I see that you were pained by it as well. And you are trying to make amends. It helps that you are with such incredible people from what I can see," and she's gesturing towards Violet and Alpaca, "because I've seen what they are here to do, and I feel that they can make a change. Maybe you can too. I can't forgive you now, but if you can find her and bring her back to me, maybe then."
I'll do my best. If I saw her, I would absolutely know her.
All right. She holds out her wrist where that tiny tint of color is peeking through. She will have the same if she's not too far gone. If she hasn't been fixed. I still ask that if you can bring her back. If you can't, then I think it's best you don't come back. And with that, she kind of gives you a final nod and looks over at Alpaca and Violet and gives you a different reaction of hope. And you feel that she's placing a lot on your shoulders, as if she's saying, "I've seen you, I've seen what you can do. Though it was brief, there is so much hope. There is expectation." She thinks that you guys might be able to change this place for the better. So she gives you that knowing look, a very grateful look, before taking her
Alpaca
leave.
wraps that rose bun in some waxed paper and slips a little masala chai tea bag into that and offers it before she turns, or like monkey hops over there and like grabs her skirt and just like hands it up.
Oh,
See you around, Rose. My name's Alpaca, by the way.
well met,
Well,
Alpaca.
merry meet, merry part, merry meet.
She giggles and just kind of like pats your cheek very gently and then walks
Alpaca
away.
just like immediately turns her head, her curls flying around, and she like looks up at Joe and she's like,
May I hug you?
I don't know right now. I don't
I
know that
approach
I'm
you then?
Yeah. And Joel bend down, like crouch down, like she's talking to a kindergartner.
mm-hmm.
Like get at eye level.
Alpaca's about as tall as one. And she leans in and she goes to whisper in your ear, and I'm sure that Joe can smell her. There's the scent of freshly baked bread that's always just kind of lingering. The smell of like sauces and pasta and whatever she was working on or whatever she has in her pockets. Definitely more reminiscent of mint and a bit of chai and gender fluid. And she says into your ear,
Grief is not a disorder, a disease, or a sign of weakness. It is an emotional, physical, and spiritual necessity. And you're not wrong for needing something.
Joe will give you a hug.
Are you
Puppies.
offering emotional support, would you say?
I guess.
That's
What
a
do I roll
move.
for that?
That's a move.
You roll
You
heart
gotta-
or spirit, and then +3 if you have a string on them.
I think- yeah, you do.
One in spirit. I do have a string, so +3 with a string.
If you spend it,
So-
you get the +3.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, can I give another string? Because I feel like Joe was on the edge, man.
Yeah, I
So-
think you guys are free to give strings.
Okay,
As it
Joe will
makes
give
sense
a
to you.
second string to Alpaca.
Okay. That'll bring it to a 10 if I use both strings. Because I rolled not great.
Oh. Yeah, so 10 plus, if they open up to you, they choose one, and you either choose one or take a string on them. Clear a condition, +1 forward, gain insight from the GM about an obstacle facing one of you. You can also mark XP, but for this game's purposes, we're not doing XP, so clear a condition, +1 forward, insight about an obstacle facing you.
I think right
would-
now. Oh, that's you. Sorry.
Oh, I was
Yeah,
gonna
that's
say
Aaron's choice.
I need to clear a condition.
Yeah,
If that's okay.
yeah.
I'll get rid of hopeless.
Yeah. Who's moved? Oh, it was me. Yeah, that. Because I think that's what you need right now.
Yeah, on a 10+, also Cedar, you choose one, or you can take a string on them.
For myself.
For, I believe it's for Joe, for the person you're trying to affect.
Definitely clear
Yeah.
condition. Aside from hopeless, didn't she have another one?
I do. I have
Yeah,
guilty
she-
too.
Guilty as well.
No.
So.
Oh, that would be for yourself, I think. I don't think you would be able to clear a condition for Joe.
But you
Plus
can have
one
a
forward to
string
Joe.
back. I think it's +4 to you.
Why is it
Maybe
me?
it is.
I believe.
But I thought the forward
the way
was
that I
something
read
like
it,
you
I
pass
just-
it forward. At least in combat, I know in this system.
Forward is for your next roll in that one. Like I have a +1 forward to heart the next time I roll a heart roll because I haven't used it yet. But
Okay, I'll take the plus. I've been rolling a lot tonight. And I just rolled not that great. I'll take a +1 forward.
Perfect.
Queen, I know
You
that was
managed
a
to
lot.
console Joe a little
You need
bit.
pats and stuff.
That, Quinn, I know that was a lot, and you're not really one to talk much about how you're feeling and whatnot, but I know it wasn't easy to say the things you did, and I just wanted to tell you, go fuck yourself. Uppies. Uppies.
Is Alpaca offering me emotional support?
Uppies. I suppose. I made a mess. I have to clean it up. That's the thing that they taught me to do in the kitchen. Otherwise, you
that's
slip on a curly fry and die.
I can use a playbook move for that. Ew, feelings. When someone offers me emotional support, I can
Yeah,
refuse
do
to
it.
open up, increasing
That's
my
great.
feelings by 1, and then I choose one from the emotional support list. So you roll Alpaca.
I roll. What do I roll, plus or minus?
Whatever the emotional
It's-
support.
Heart or spirit for emotional support.
I think heart would be appropriate for this. Roll a 3. I have a string on you. Now I'm going to save it.
Yeah, I don't think it's worth
That
it.
only gets you up to a 6, so that doesn't
I know.
do anything anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I failed!
you have a +1 forward.
I do.
Oh,
so make it
yeah.
a,
So if
that
you
would
spend
make
the
it
string,
a
that's a
4.
7.
What? I thought the +1 forward is just a +1.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but then you have
And
a
then if
string,
you spend the string, that's 3 more because it's emotional support.
so it's adding 4.
I think the dice here are trying to tell a story, and I think that Quinn's not ready. I, as an outsider to the story, I think that there's more for Quinn that Quinn needs or wants to learn before they're ready.
Well, here's the
And-
thing. So with that playbook move, it says it increases my feelings by 1 and choosing the options listed below, but you didn't make it through the options. But I think the feelings track still stands, which puts me at my max feelings. So I am feeling a lot of feelings right now. If your feelings track reaches 4, you can't hold it in anymore. So
What happens?
you say that to Quinn, and they are just kind of looking at you, their face stony like usual. But then it just sort of starts to break, like the resolve on their face starts to break, and their face just like contorts and like twists downwards into this like just very morose look, and they're on the verge of holding back from sobbing at this point.
Violet's
Alpaca
gonna
like
rush over.
parkours. Yeah.
Yeah, Violet's gonna rush over and just be like, "Oh no, Quinn! Quinn, what can I do? What do you need?"
Alpaca like parkours off of Violet onto Quinn and just like legs, arms and tail around her face so that no one else can see her face, but because she knows that she's not really ready to be seen being vulnerable yet. And just like hugs her head really tight, but not too tight that it squeezes off, because that's for something that's behind the bedroom door. That's later. And she says,
That's for being a good girl later.
"You're
Yeah, it
not
looks like there might
you're
be more
not
for
weaker."
your feelings reaching for.
Yeah,
So
there is.
you-
Oh,
so,
you can go ahead
yep.
though.
Oh, yeah, so you basically unleash what you've been holding on to. You do what you've been afraid to do, and damn the consequences. You can give anyone present a string on you to gain a string on them. Stop when the consequences catch up with you for good or for ill.
Yeah,
So
so
what
you
is
guys
it-
would all get strings on that. What were you saying, Keisha?
What is it that you've been afraid to do? What is it that you are unleashing that you've been holding in?
All of my emotions. Quinn at this point is just sobbing into Alpaca's shoulders. They're basically sitting on the ground while Alpaca and probably also Violet are trying to like console them. And they're just like kind of starting to like blubber, and they're just like it's just not fair. They've taken all this away from us, and we had so much, and they've given us so little. And they always try and put us into these rigid boxes, but we're not rigid, and we don't fit in all of the boxes, and it's been so stifling for so long to be in this box that I don't belong in, and I want to be somewhere that I actually belong. And they just have never understood. It's not fair.
It's not.
You're right. It's
You're
not
right.
fair, and that's why we're here. We're here to get rid of the boxes. In fact, you never have to fit into a box ever again.
Unless it's for some weird kinky shit that you're into.
I mean, yeah, that's that's on the table.
With consent, I guess.
They don't
I
let
don't
us
judge.
have kinks here.
Oh, well, that's a problem.
Quinn, you don't live here anymore.
You don't live here. Yeah, you're not a citizen here anymore.
And
I
these
know, but
people,
look-
we're gonna
Look
help
what
them.
happens when we come here. It's there's nothing that we can do to stop it. It just becomes
It's-
part of you, and you can't. That's
It's
why being
called-
here for so long it just has changed us.
Darling, it's called masking. It doesn't mean that's who you are inside.
It's exhausting.
It's protective. It's protection, and there's nothing wrong with trying to protect yourself.
And there is something we can do. You saw
There
us
is.
do it. Well, mostly Alpaca. You saw how
Well,
many
no,
people Alpaca
well, no,
was able
you-
to reach.
To be honest with you, you showing up with a big fucking sword really made me feel ballsy in the moment, so I was able to keep going because
Well, I
I thought I was going to
appreciate
shit
that. It's a-
myself.
But it's a really cool sword. Like, do you
It is
see,
a
it's
really
still got the
it's-
little
it's
teeth
a
in the
really
jawbone.
cool teeth in the
It is a
jawbone.
really cool sword.
Yeah, I've touched it. It's really sharp. But anyway, Quinn, healing takes courage. And courage isn't the absence of fear, it's in spite of fear. It's because of fear, and we all have it. Even if sometimes we have to lift up the mask and dig a little deeper to be able to find it.
There's just been no room for fear or for hope or for really anything these last 20 years. And even just coming back here has just been so triggering. And I want it all to be over. I want it to be done. I'm tired of feeling this way.
Yeah, we want it to be over too, and you are so brave for coming back here
You are.
and for fighting
Both of
for
you.
what's right.
Come here, Joe. Little on the ground
We
huddle.
need Joe in the
Here,
in the,
hang on
pug.
a
the cuddle puddle.
hang on a second. I've
Yeah,
got
cuddle
like
puddle on the ground.
I've got like a little cloak of concealing here, and I'll just like spread it over us like that tent in like kindergarten
before-
the big rainbow tent parachute
No,
thing.
it's like in Lord of the Rings where Sam throws the cloak over him and Frodo, and they look like a ill-concealed boulder in
Yeah.
front of the gates of Mordor.
Yep. No one can tell. Everything's grey. How are they supposed to know?
We're
We're just a very lumpy, very muscular pile of trash. Oh, good.
That
I'm with my
describes me
people.
perfectly. A muscular pile of trash.
A muscular pile of trash. My
Joe
people.
definitely gets into the puddle and hugs, but also when she stands up, she wants to offer Quinn her hand and like to help them up.
Yeah, Quinn takes it and lets you help them up.
Joe, as she pulls you up, gives your hand a squeeze and says, "I see you."
This is the first time I've ever felt seen, especially here. I remember vaguely what Vivacia was like, but it's been so long that I feel like I don't even know who I am.
We were just kids back then.
That's true.
You'll never have
But
to
look at
forget
you.
ever again.
But Joe says, "Look at you, though. You can't see yourself, but maybe you can see your hand. You've got
Got a
color."
mirror.
My nails have turned blue.
All these years, that blue nail polish.
That's some really fucking good nail polish. Holy shit.
It's just stayed.
Where do you get that? Oh, it's probably from my hands. Fuck.
Maybe Quinn was always a blue person, and
Yeah.
and they didn't have their true color back yet,
Right.
because
I
all
don't
the
even know
people
what my
in
colors
Vivacia
are.
were all rainbow colors,
Colors.
right?
Mhm.
It's like when you get your cataracts removed and you look in the mirror and you're like, holy shit. I'm hot when I got wrinkles and grey hairs.
Sexy foxes.
So you all are in your little cuddle puddle, and even before, like, covering with that cloak and whatnot, trying to be a little bit more discreet, you still definitely got some attention, for sure, from people milling about, going to where they're supposed to, and they're actively going around all of you guys. Some of them are kind of stopping and watching as if this is like a whole spectacle, some kind of maybe even performance. You note that this is drawing a lot more attention again, so perhaps it is now time to continue onwards towards the castle where Constance awaits.
Okay,
Yeah,
here we
by the
go.
way, we all
as
we all
we're
got
moving.
strings on each other for that. So I gave you all a string and you all got one on me.
Okay, yeah, I did write that down.
Okay.
While we're moving, Violet is just like yelling at the people who are sitting, like, "What? You've never seen someone have feelings before?" And then she's like, "Oh,
No, they
right,
literally-
you haven't."
They
You know,
literally
it's-
have it.
It's totally normal to have an emotional breakdown. It's actually quite healthy and cathartic.
Especially in the middle of town, sitting on the ground.
Oh, absolutely. The best breakdowns happen in public with a lot of people watching and sometimes filming. Anyway, after all this, we can cut your hair and we can dye it a fun color. Let's go.
That's often the solution to problems, except for me. Don't cut the feathers. They don't grow back right when you do that. You gotta like actually
Yeah, you gotta
pluck
like do
them out, and it's a whole thing.
Actually, I would love to try. I know it's not necessarily appropriate. It's not appropriate to touch your feathers without asking, of course, because it's a special kind of hair. But could you teach me how to preen them? If it's not too much trouble. Because I want to be able to help.
That would be great. And I will definitely teach you once we're done here and we get back to the ship, because
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, it's not really important to be.
Obviously, it's the big, very
the big square,
symmetrical pile of
bigger
cubes
than
in the
other
middle.
squares.
Yeah,
Why is everything a square? Like, you don't even have rectangles. It's all squares.
It's all
Yep,
squares.
Perfect squares. Rectangles are too long.
Like, it doesn't even, there's no arches. Like, when I had building blocks when I was a kid, and Lincoln logs, you know? Anyway,
Not a single pyramid here.
Nope. Pyramids has got angles and sharp corners. Pyramids is
I know
great.
they could have pyramids, and pyramids
They're
are
great.
cool.
We could probably introduce them to pyramids after we introduce them to a triangle. Triangle's my favourite shape. Here's my tail. I'll lead the way. You hold it. It's like a custom at my world. You hold it and then you don't get lost.
It's so
Well, you
hard
know,
to get
you
to
ho-
this castle.
Or you hold your mummy's tail. Let's go. And we
Violet.
agree, so we do it, and we're at the
Miles away.
castle.
Yeah, Violet grabs her tail and then reaches her other hand behind her for somebody
Yep,
else.
we
so that
like
can
go,
form a
we make
chain.
it there like it's like the baby chain when you see the
Yep.
toddlers out for a walk and it's like the rope with shapes and then one of them falls in the back and the whole line just falls over and you try not to laugh really loudly but you do because you're in your dorm and you're ha ha ha. Definitely never happened to me before.
It's too specific to have not have.
There's clover seeds everywhere. The weeds are growing
Yes.
actively in this asphalt.
Fast weeds. Wow.
Well,
yeah,
she's
so you
got
guys-
she's the sun hand. She's germinating them with her heat.
Makes sense. It's definitely leaving a literal mark in this area for sure. So yes, you guys eventually do reach the castle.
Great.
Yay! We
You're allowed inside. You are already quite well known at this point, this long journey to the castle, with all of these random little side quests that popped up and you took care of and moved on, and it was emotional and up and down and everything, and yet here you are, finally, at last, trying to gain an audience with the Empress Constance. Walking inside, there is nothing particularly special about this entryway. It is bleak, square, gray, just like everything else, just slightly bigger. Probably the only difference. Maybe a couple of pillars that are, of course, square, not rounded by any means. As you walk through, you can see portraits of the exact same, like, it seems initially at first glance the exact same woman over and over and over again, but it's just the generational lineage of Constance and her family, all of her mother, her grandmother, etc., but they're all the exact same pose, like to a T.
Are they clones?
The way that they look, you kind of wonder if they are clones, because all of these were painted at the exact same point in their lives, so everything is just the same.
It's either that
continue
or their
down.
family tree is Olympic rings. Sorry.
You continue into this, it should be a grand hallway, but even that it's being a little generous. It's just another hallway, a very square, long hallway that leads
This is
into
a bigger square hallway.
a bigger square hallway.
It's a rectangle! We found the
Finally
rectangle!
defined
Hallways are in
rectangle.
fact rectangles. We did it.
I mean,
We found
rectangles
the one
technically are
rectangle.
squares.
We win the
Yeah.
game.
Yay!
our-
There's like the occasional step that like breaks it up, kind of. So it's like there's a square that you walk across, and then you step onto the next square where they're like, it's not a rectangle though, it's just a bunch of squares. So you walk up to where this, what should probably be considered a throne, but it is a relatively basic square looking chair with Constance sitting. And you can see Quinn and Joe, you have known Constance either from being very close or from far away, but you recognize her immediately. She definitely looks a lot different though than what you've last seen, especially for Joe. You knew her so well. You remember when she was young, she had like streaks of every color in her hair. They would just constantly change and almost just kind of like fall and just kind of evaporate, and then colors would just appear again, just like this living rainbow, basically, of hair. She was literally just so full of life. She was always just so playful and so joyful and just always looking forward to how she could help her people. And that was always at the core of her beliefs. She always wanted to help her people as best she could. She knew that there were dangers outside. She knew that there were things that could be hurtful. And she always, always, always wanted to protect her people as best she could. And this change that had happened to her that you had witnessed was something that almost seemed a little slow at first before it became very apparent, where those colors in her hair just stopped one day and they all turned this like brittle looking gray, her hair flat, and her face has gotten so gaunt and drawn in as if the life almost literally has been sucked out of her. When she had changed into the Empress she is today, creating that self-same reign and all of these regulations and changing everything in the name of trying to protect and better her people and keep them all equal, but it wasn't the right way. And this is all, of course, kind of somehow tied, presumably, by that meteor that had randomly showed up. And I will note, Joe and Quinn, neither of you have ever actually seen this meteor. You've seen where it had landed inside the city briefly before it was quickly covered up, of course. But beyond that, it's as much a rumor to you as everybody else. But sitting before you is Constance. She is holding herself as high as she can, but you can almost see the literal weight that she has put on herself with those dropped shoulders and just kind of slumped posture, despite her best efforts trying to seem queenly before you. Standing at her side is, of course, Enforcer Frigida, and she has a very large frame. Like, she is just pure muscle, standing beside Constance with just this very almost perfectly square looking face, square jaw, those sharp eyes peering down at you, studying your every move, judging your every action.
Joe has been so filled with emotion that she kind of, when she comes in, she like kind of audibly gasps and says, Constance, what's happened?
And Frigida would step forward and look down at you because they're a little bit raised up above you guys. And Frigida says, "You do not speak to her like that. That is Empress Constance to you."
Oh, she's strict.
I don't live here anymore. I'm a diplomatic envoy from the Haven Cooperative.
Speak more clearly.
Yes,
My
ma'am.
name is Journey, and I'm here from the Haven Cooperative, and we've been sent from the Three Paragons to tell you that what you're doing is not helpful to anyone in your charge, and your planet is dying because of what you're doing. Literally, the ground is crumbling, everything is turning to dust, and the people can't go on like this. I couldn't go on like this. That's why I left.
Don't listen to these lies that they try to poison you with, Empress. This is a waste of your time. But I suppose thank you ever so much for trying. You may take your leave now. And Brigida gestures for you all to leave, not even giving a moment for Constance to say anything. It seems as if maybe she was about to but Frigida steps in.
Excuse me, are you the advisor to the Miss Empress?
Why do you think the Empress can't speak for herself?
How terribly presumptuous of you. Sorry, but I can't help but want to speak out of turn and kind of brat around you. Sorry. You're very pretty. and you got big muscles. I'm sorry. I don't like this around pretty ladies.
That won't.
They
Violet-
do. We've seen it.
Violet reaches down and kind of grabs Alpaca on the shoulder. It's like, really? Now?
I can't help it. I'm sorry. I'm gonna get quiet. I can't hold it together. I'm trying. But she's hot.
She's so
I
strong.
know she's
She's so hot. She's so strong. She could lift me up and then do.
Toss you out the window. Indeed, I can.
Oh, if you're into that, I'm okay with that. I'm nimble. I was born with a tail. I'm very good and balanced. I've got a 10 acrobatics.
In any of this, has Constant made or any attempt to move or talk or anything?
Constance seems to have made a movement as if she leaned forward, hand lifted slightly, as if she were about to perhaps say something. But anytime she makes any kind of movement like that, Frigida is immediately there, cuts in, and takes over, where Constance just sits back in response.
I want to draw my sword and threaten Frigida.
Same.
All right.
Oh, yeah. Are we playing this game? There's nothing more gay than sword foreplay.
As soon as Joe draws her sword, Quinn pulls their sword out from under their sleeve.
Can we
as
all have
well.
our moment of like our Sailor Moon transformations of our
Yeah,
swords one
our
by
magic
one?
girl
Explain
sword.
it.
You
Explain.
gotta-
Paint me a word picture. Come on, Aaryn.
Go first, Joe. Go
Okay.
first, Joe.
Okay. All right. So Joe has just but it's only half the size of that because she broke it when she
'cause
left.
It's a broken sword.
Yeah. So it's more like a short sword now, but it's not got a real stabby end. But the two sides are sharp, and she draws it out and kind of gets right up into Frigida's face.
It's like a machete.
All right. Quinn, you said that you also draw your sword.
Yeah, so Quinn has long sleeves on, and they kind of like make this like flicking motion with their wrist and put their hand out like with the palm flat, and this like essentially a really long dagger comes sliding out with like half of the sword pointing or coming out past their hand, and they like flip their wrist out and point it directly at Frigida.
All right, Alpaca, did you also draw?
Yeah, I drew the multi-tool. I think Alpaca, like it says this, and reaches into her belt and pulls out a wooden spoon, and then she looks at it and she's like, "Oh fuck, hang on." She puts it back in the belt, goes to the other side, pulls out what seems to be like a little rectangle. I found a rectangle. And she flips it open up from one side, and it's much like a set of pliers, like a Gerber set of pliers. It's a multi-tool or like kind of like a Swiss Army knife, sort of. And you see flashes of like a whisk, of a spatula, of knitting needles, of paintbrushes, of all kinds of things, of even like a string of words, like written words or typeface or something, cut through the air until it becomes a long and heavy bastard sword. And she holds it low, and she braces one hand against the pommel and twists it down and goes into 4.
All right.
Avast ye, pretty lady.
Violet?
Let's get
so
queer.
Violet's sword is it's made of bone. It's the jawbone of a giant snake, and it's not in a sheath or anything. It's just tied to her belt, and so she puts one hand on the handle, the other hand on a string, and just pulls it, which releases the sword, and she just picks it up with the one hand, pointing it at Frigida.
All right. And seeing this, of course, Frigida cracks half a smile, reaches behind her back, and draws her own sword, which is surprisingly small and slender. Like it almost looks too small in her hand, but very like deft, and you can see that it has an odd sort of glint to it as she holds it and points it towards all of you. Otherwise,
Oh, so we're playing rapier. Got
rather,
it.
rather standard looking, but yes. She would begin by looking at Joe and say, I am very surprised to see you here after abandoning your so-called friend to wither away. She hasn't forgotten your betrayal of leaving her alone.
Wow, for a people that try to, like say everyone should be equal, you really do tend to drag each other down.
I'm
She's got
sorry.
emotional baggage. I'm really into that because I'm gay.
I'm sorry, Constance. I shouldn't have left you. Only able to get myself out at the time. And found somebody else who was in the same place I was, and we were able to get out together. But I've gotten stronger, and I've gotten people who believe in me, and there is a whole galaxy out there with love and hope, and I'm back to help if I can.
Constance would look up and you see her eyes are nothing but just gray. And she seems to be looking straight at you, and you hear her whispering, but somehow you can still hear her clearly. You just hear her say, So you left me. I wasn't good enough to help you. And you can tell that there's something off as she's speaking. Like her lips are moving, but it's almost as if she's not actually the one saying it. It's almost as if something is speaking through her. But that still reaches you. And Frigida would step in and she yells out, Silence! And she tries to push you back and slice at you with her sword. She's trying to like actually attack you. So I believe that would be a fight move. Like you can physically or emotionally like kind of do like this battle.
Yeah, I'm pretty good at the actual battling, daring stuff, so I'll go in with that.
Me too. I've got a +1 into daring. And when I see that that the big lady, the big pretty lady, has drawn a rapier, I say, "Oh, oops!" and I swish my multi-tool around, and it becomes a rapier. Swing, and it's got keons that are way too long, and they look like spoons. On
A
guard.
little outnumbered here, but so Frigida's going to start.
She's
Take
8
the
feet tall, and she's built like a shit brick house. And she's obviously like a person of power over the Empress.
No.
Also, she's hot. She's got hot power.
It's very strong. So she rolled a total of 7. So she is going to try to inflict a condition on Joe with how she's talking to you, saying, You have no idea what I've seen Constance go through. The pain of you leaving cut her more deeply than any sword could. And she's trying to also provoke you as well. So those are the 2 options.
Yeah,
And then
so
you
do
make
I
one choice
I
as
make
well.
a daring roll?
Right now, you just get to choose one of these
Oh.
options, since
Okay.
I only rolled a 7. I got to choose 2, and you, in response, get to choose 1, where you can flirt or provoke your opponent and gain a string on them. So Frigida gained a string on you, was one of her options. Through violence or cutting words, inflict a condition, create an opportunity for an ally, take an object from your opponent, or seize superior position.
Like
So I get to
seize a
pick which one?
superiority
Yeah.
decision.
Yeah.
You get to pick
Yeah.
which one.
Superior.
Okay, yeah, I'll give her the
on me.
superior position.
Yes, daddy.
So how do you gain this position? Do you like kind of maneuver around so that you kind of have the higher ground?
Yeah, or at least get up to because you said that they were kind of raised above on a platform.
Like a dais?
Yeah.
However you feel
So
like it.
I'd like to get up there, and if I can kind of edge her away from Constance, I will.
Okay. So yeah, you're kind of trying to get her a little bit further away.
Yeah, Edger. Edger good.
Edge are real good. Parry, thrust.
Quinn, I'm gonna have you decide what you do next. We're gonna kind of do this order of who drew their
Okay.
sword.
I want to try and figure Frigida out.
Okay.
So I just roll my dice. Okay, so that is a 10. I get to do 2 questions plus my additional playbook move question. So I'm using the I see through you playbook move, and I can ask an additional question in the figure a person out. And I was actually reading this a little bit. I didn't really know this from the system, but it's not necessarily like asking questions outright unless you want it to be. It can just be like, this is the information that you want, and you can give or receive it in like any way that it can be given or received, which I think is pretty cool. So the first thing I would like to find out is, how could I get Frigida to drop their guard, basically.
Oh.
And so since I rolled a 10 plus, I get to ask 2 questions from the regular figure person out and then 1 from my playbook. So that was the first one. The second one is, how would Frigida feel if I were to overcome them, basically, to like win this fight and bring the colors back? How would they feel if that happened? And then my playbook question is, what are you most afraid of right now? So you can give me that information however you choose, basically.
Yeah. As you are kind of watching Frigida, she had taken a swipe down at Joe and is kind of repositioning. Joe's kind of moving around, skirting around her, leading her away from Constance. You see that there's this hesitation that Frigida doesn't want to go too far. She's hesitant to like take a step down from that platform she's currently on. It seems to be something that she's just hesitating. You see her glancing down at all of you, at the colorful garb and all of just the colors in general, this freedom of expression and individuality. Maybe you see almost a hint of jealousy, and she makes this interesting movement where she has like this shoulder pad that she moves a bit more tightly as if trying to cover something before repositioning.
So seeing that happen, Quinn tries to make a fast slash towards the shoulder pad to see if they can like cut it loose or something.
Okay, yeah, let's do...
Hell yeah, get the enemy naked.
That can probably be part of my figure it out playbook move. You know,
just James
like
T. Kirk her.
my move.
Yeah, so you're pointedly hitting at that spot that she had adjusted, and she tries to step aside, her attention quickly switching to you as if she's almost afraid that you would land that blow. All right, so we're gonna go to Alpaca.
Me.
All right, I've actively switched my multi-tool to rapier just so that it's a fair fight. Also, like right before she joined the Haven Gal Paladins, the advert did say have to have a big fucking sword, and she became an expert at sword play overnight. And it turns out sword play involves a lot of foreplay, but also being able to move quickly on your feet and make daring moves while not necessarily putting yourself or your friendly opponent in danger. But this is a not friendly opponent, but also not Alpaca's focus right now. So Alpaca would like to hop, skip, monkey her way up the dais and feint. Make a feint move towards Frigida, not only to take a moment to distract her from these two that are coming at her, to provide her, to maybe try and overwhelm her, but then she wants to, like, as she's going, without losing momentum, she wants to, like, Tokyo drift between her legs and skid across the dais over to Constance, turning her multi-tool into a bowl, or into a plate, on which she will punch a fistful of flour and will attempt to make a delicious muffin. That is
Alright.
actually one of my special Sunhand baking moves, which I need to roll with plus daring to imbue it with power. And I would like to do medical bread. Tastes bitter. Name a specific condition to clear when eaten. Now, I don't know exactly what condition Constance is under, but it is, to Alpaca, it seems influence, because she sees her and heard, like, she heard the speech and, like, didn't see her mouth, like, moving and syncing up, right?
Right.
She sees her right now as a puppet. She doesn't know exactly who the puppeteer is or where the puppeteer is, whether or not it's Frigida, which is already being dealt with, or if it's some external force. But right now, Constance is obviously someone in need of help.
Okay. Yeah.
I think it says it tastes bitter. Let's say that it is a lemon cranberry muffin. No nuts.
So presenting that, you see that Constance doesn't really have much of a reaction, maybe kind of leaning back a little bit, but kind of gazing down at that plate, almost as if in a daze, not really sure what to do with that, and doesn't make a move to reach out to it or anything, but just simply sits there and kind of gazes at this.
When she opens her mouth to be like, she shoves it in there. I rolled 2 5s. This is plus daring, which I have a +1. It's an 11.
All right.
Because that 5 was almost a 1, I will say. And I was like, oh.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah,
I haven't
see
switched these
that
dice
moment.
yet, so.
You see that moment of when she kind of, like, the jaw drops just a little bit, and you're like, that's enough, and whoop, there it goes. You shove the muffin, and she just kind of almost, with a reaction, just starts to eat it, like, oh, very shocked, but the taste, the flavors, like, hit her instantly.
Sorry!
And you see those gray eyes begin to almost clear. It's almost as if you're literally seeing, like, the 2 orbs of filled with mist beginning to dissipate, and you can see the hint of light blue eyes underneath beginning to appear. Violet, we're gonna hop to you. What are you gonna do?
I am also gonna go to Constance, with Frigida seeming to have their hands full fighting off 2 people currently. So I'm going to, get up on whatever platform they are. Probably go, like, try to go on whatever side the fighting is. It's not really happening. To go kind of around and over to Violet or to Constance, and I'm gonna try and, like, check on her, because clearly there's something going on. There's something, like,
What if it's unseen?
something is not right. And what I'm actually doing is I'm using the move Figure Out a Person. Phantasm is going to help me, which gives me a +1, but it is obvious to everyone that Phantasm is helping me. Phantasm just kind of shows up and is very visible for that, which I think, let's see, I rolled a 5, my stat is a 1, and then another 1, so that's a 7 for Figure Out a Person.
All right.
So,
2.
yeah. So I get to ask 2 questions, and Constance gets to also learn something about me. But what I want to know is what her feelings are towards Frigida, first of all. And also, what do you love most is on the list. And I think that's important to figure out, because I don't think it's the Reign of Self-Same.
Especially if it's a food and a dish that Alpaca can make.
Let's see. What was the first one, real quick? Sorry.
What are your feelings towards Frigida?
Okay, so you see that as she is chowing down on this muffin that magically appeared in front of her, she doesn't understand, but all she's eaten is just this really bland sludge for most of her life. This is something that's very exciting and very different. You see her eyes, as they're clearing, flicker up towards Frigida as she is trying to stave off Joe and Quinn. You see that Constance has a little bit of, it's kind of a mixture of like resentment but also pity at the same time towards Frigida. There's just so many mixed emotions where it's nothing terribly negative, but it's just there's something there that it's clear she's not okay with Frigida stepping forward with her actions right now. She's not approving of this, but can't seem to stop her. And through that, you can see that she still has that strong sense of just deep love and caring for all of her people. Every time Joe or Quinn or Frigida, any of them get hit by a blow, she winces because they're still her people in her eyes, and she doesn't want to see them hurt by any means. So with that, her eyes flicker over to you, and you hear this voice whisper to you, "What do you hope to gain from this? From all of this?"
I hope to free you and your people from this oppressive reign, from this lack of color, from this lack of personality, from this lack of self-expression. No one is happy here, and it needs to end.
And you have bland ass fucking fake tea. Sorry.
Yeah, that tea is not real.
It's not tea.
Both Violet and Alpaca, you can see a glimmer kind of at the crown of her head and maybe the beginnings of color starting to appear. Just little bits begin to trail down her hair. Frigida is locked in combat with Joe and Quinn on either end, and you can see that she is noting this. She sees from the corner of her eye that Constance now has the other two kind of surrounding her, and Frigida's grip tightens, and she's going to look down at Quinn. She braces herself and she tries to like ram into you, like just full on body slam. And she's trying to crush you into the ground.
Back off, Quinn. I wanted that.
Can I dive in front because I am bigger than Quinn?
Maybe that could be a defy disaster
Okay.
to avert imminent danger to someone else.
Yeah.
Okay, what
Let's see. So maybe you can use grace for swiftness or daring for might, endurance.
I would much rather do daring.
Perfect. Okay, so go ahead and make your roll.
Okay, I got a 6
For-
and a 1, which is a 7, but I have a +2 to daring. So 9.
So you get a 9. Okay. So
Do you have a string on Frigida?
I do not.
Or on Quinn? Because wouldn't that be like protect?
I have strings on Quinn.
Would that count, Game Master?
I'm not sure if it. I don't know.
You can spend a string at, if someone's like involved in the thing that you're doing, if you're trying to affect them, you can always spend a string to get a +1 to your roll.
I will spend a string to get a 10.
There you go.
I'm so glad I emotionally fucked you all up.
And Frigida was using a string as well, so she also had a 10. So you are going to end up taking this physical blow instead of Quinn. You managed to get Quinn out of the way, so you take the brunt of the attack. And her attempt was to try and like physically hit so hard to stagger was Frigida's attempt. So let's see. So defy disaster. Do it with style. You may discover a new opportunity or gain a string on someone with your roll. Do you have a preference? If you want to
I would like. I would gain back my string on Quinn.
Okay. So you will receive that, and you will choose an option from stagger. You can lash out at someone, you can hesitate or stumble, or you can grin and bear it and mark. In this case, I'll say you just mark one condition
Okay.
from her just kind of ramming you into the ground, like her full body weight is pressing you down as much as she can. You can hear like the stone cracking beneath that.
Yeah. If I have to mark another condition, I'll mark angry and lash out
All right. Yeah.
at her, at Frigida.
Yeah, makes sense. She's just growling down at you, just saying, "You should have never come back. You are making everything worse. Just leave."
Anger's not a bad emotion, it's just an emotion. Fuck her up, Journey.
We'll hop to Quinn. So you were kind of saved. Joe took your place from that massive hit that Joe ended up taking for you.
Okay. I think I would want to maybe entice Frigida,
Okay.
so that way I can try and gain a string on them. So I'm gonna roll a heart,
Mm-hmm.
and let's see what happens. Okay, so that is a... Ooh, wait, what's my heart? Ooh, that's a 6, so it's a downbeat for sure.
Okay. What were you doing to entice?
From the ground, with Journey kind of like over me, I like look around Journey and try and yell up at Frigida that we both know what it feels like to have to hide our emotions and our true selves, and that it really is much easier to just accept what you're feeling and try and feel it, and that they should try that.
She looks over at you, and she's still doing her best to keep Joe to the ground, and she just kind of laughs at that, brushing aside your words. Please, you trying to talk to me about emotions? Don't be absurd. You know nothing about them.
Fair.
And it seems she is very unswayed and
Okay.
almost seems to double down on trying to like push Joe like into the ground as much as she can. Alpaca. So Constance seems to have finished eating that muffin. You're seeing bits of color starting to paint her hair.
Are you okay, Your Majesty? Your Grace? Your... Miss Constance.
And she's blinking away. The fogginess seems to kind of clear a little bit. Her eyes are getting brighter and brighter, and they first started as a light blue, and now they're kind of like turning into like a light pink. And she looks at you, Alpaca, and then she looks over at Violet as well, and she says, What is happening?
Where's the puppeteer?
Where?
What's been doing this to you? We gotta stop it.
And
Before Joe
she,
gets crushed like a fucking watermelon underneath those damn thighs.
she
So jealous
glances
right now.
down, and she reaches into her shirt and she pulls out a necklace where there's this tiny little piece of rock. It seems like this very interesting looking, this porous rock, and she yanks it off of her neck and she holds it towards you, her hand shaking. There's something. Oh. So you're sniffing it, you're looking at it. Okay, now you're tasting. Okay.
She puts salt. She like takes it. She sniffs it. She looks at it. She she tastes it, and then she takes like some salt from her bag, and she sprinkles it on there, and she tastes it, and she's like, I can't taste the salt.
Smash it with a hammer.
All you taste.
I smash it with a hammer.
And she turns the multi-tool into a what's it called, a meat tenderizer, and she goes,
Bringing it down, and you crush that rock that must have been a piece of meteorite, perhaps, and it
Wow.
just obliterates into pieces all across the floor.
she sweeps it
Violet.
into a seasoning shaker for later.
Oh no, Violet.
Yeah, I'm going to. I'm still with Constance, and I think I'm gonna say something to her of like, Constance, it's the real you now.
Yes, it is. I don't know what's happened.
Your people are suffering. Something took everything from your kingdom. All of the color was gone, all of the personality. Anything that was different, anything that wasn't gray and square was squashed out. But you're back. And you can put a stop to this.
And she's nodding with your words, and she's standing straighter. You see more and more color begins to fall across her face, just kind of like water falling down across her shoulders. And you see that just all of the colors of the rainbow kind of take their turn, flashing across her skin, her eyes, her nails, everything. It's almost as if she's just kind of like pulsing with light and color as she's getting back her strength. She's getting back to who she's supposed to be.
Who's your hairdresser? Are they over at Salon Z?
As this happens, I'm going to become smitten with her because, like, damn.
Yeah, immediately, like,
Just immediately. Like, oh, okay. Yeah.
can I be like angry smitten with Frigida?
Maybe. When I become smitten with somebody, I answer the question, what obvious thing about you are you sure would make them reject you? So that's a fun question. Not at all horrible. Yeah, and I think, like, seeing her and her beauty and her all of the color that she has, I think that she would reject me for, like, my association with the unseen ones and my affinity for, like, monsters and things like that. Like, I think, like, I'm viewing her as this, like, very colorful, beautiful being, and it's like, well, my friends, not the ones in the party, but my other friends, the unseen ones and things like that, I think that she would not approve of.
You feel a gentle hand on your shoulder, and you turn to see Bob hovering beside you. Support you, and all that you do. How did I get here?
How did you get here?
Bob! I don't know.
It's a mystery, really.
I haven't the foggiest.
Joe, you're being crushed by Frigida. You
Jealous.
see that she is full on top of you right now.
Mm-hmm.
And her eyes are just blazing with anger. She glances up. You both can see this like glare of color over where Constance is, and you see Frigida's eyes widen, and she just says, "No, it's not supposed to be this way. This is your fault." And she draws her sword and she tries to like bring it down towards you, like almost just desperately, just blindly. And
I want to
you...
try to defy disaster.
All right.
I think bleeding out would be a disaster.
I don't want that. Let's defy that.
Roll to defy exsanguinate.
This is
Yeah,
not good,
what?
guys. Even
Strings.
with my +2, I don't have a string on Frigida. Even with my, so I got a 4 plus I have 2, so that's 6.
Can I do the help action?
Yeah, so You feel this piercing pain in your side as she swings down the sword, but there was a moment of hesitation before that, and it seemed as if initially she was perhaps aiming for your heart, but she like closes her eyes and jerks her hand to the side, so instead it just kind of pierces your side. It's not cut too deep, but it's enough that it definitely hurts. And
Gut
Frigida
wounds will get you every time, but it takes a while.
it's just a flesh wound, you're fine. She manages to cut you enough that the pain is blinding, and you kind of subconsciously you just roll to the side like ah, and she stands up and she turns towards Quinn. Again, she just kind of has this look in her eyes of just like something happened, she knows it, and she's trying to lash out in reaction. With Joe kind of left, she turns the bloody blade towards you, Quinn, and it's
It's
kind of
green, by
shaking
the
in her
way.
hand.
We've
Oh,
established that
Oh,
everybody.
the blood is
Everyone's who
green.
everyone
Yeah,
who is
that's right.
purple is green has green blood.
Absolutely.
It's the rules.
you don't know what you've done. You don't understand.
I think we do understand. That's the point of all this. And I
I
want to
don't
fight.
understand.
I want to fight back. So I will roll with daring
All right.
on this one. Okay, that's an 8. So out of the 4 fight moves, I get to choose 2, and Frigida chooses 1. So I will inflict a condition, and I will inflict hopelessness on them, and then I will create an opportunity for an ally through prowess or distraction. So probably Alpaca, since they're up next. And then they get to
Okay.
choose one of the other ones on me.
Frigida just has this surge of anger at first, and then you can see that she's also beginning to lose the will to fight. It seems as if she has almost already lost. You can kind of tell from the way she looks at you with those eyes. And she drops her weapon and falls to her knees, and she just says, I know where this is going to go. I just end it here. Just end it now. All you needed to do was just the one condition for this one, so she is
Cool.
already defeated.
Oh, good.
So having won that fight, you all turn to see Constance just in her full, vibrant glory. She is almost like kind of lifted from the ground somewhat. You see all of those colors just radiating from her, and they don't just stop there, they continue reaching, and all of the gray that's in the stone, in that throne of hers, into the walls, you see all of that beginning to glitter and almost morph into this crystalline surface where it reflects all of the colors. And this entire room soon becomes so bright and lit up from Constance's iridescence. It reaches out and continues even towards Quinn and Joe. You guys look down and you see your true colors beginning to appear in reaction as well. And it continues on and outward. You can look down the hallway as you see all of those colors just radiate towards the center of the town, and then beyond that as well. You see that Constance is just grinning, feeling so full of life again, and back to how is she supposed to be. That gaunt, small, frail figure before is now fuller and just so joyful. You can't help but just kind of smile in return. Constance looks down at all of you so brightly, literally and figuratively, and she pulls you all into a hug, so tight and so warm in gratitude, and she says, I'm back. I don't know how you've done it, but this is what it's supposed to be. Thank you. Thank you.
Hold that thought, Your Grace. And Alpaca takes a lemon cranberry muffin and shoves it into Joe's face.
I was gonna ask if I was still bleeding out.
Yeah. Condition I would like to clear is exsanguination.
It wasn't fatal. It was just ouchy.
Well, regardless, you get a muffin out of it.
Okay,
Perfect.
delightful.
What's
I
Frigida
will
doing?
have my blood come back in my body.
What's Frigida doing?
Frigida is still on the ground as those colors are radiating out.
What color is
They
she?
also reach her, so you see like the armor over her that still stays a slate gray, but it becomes like shinier and, a bit more like it was actually like polished as opposed to just left to be covered in
Matte.
dust. But yes, thank you. And you see that she becomes this very hot pink color with like these really deep blue eyes. And her hair also is mixed with like blues and pinks as it kind of like curls out of that standard hairstyle.
She literally
that
got
she had
hotter.
before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh no,
Absolutely,
she got
she did.
hot.
Oh no, she got hotter.
I think whatever you guys end up, I want you guys to have some time with Constance here because Alpaca's had some time, but Alpaca's always had trouble letting somebody be the odd one out. Like she's like the type of person who would go and sit with somebody who's sitting alone in the cafeteria.
That is why Alpaca and Violet are so close.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, what you doing?
Over
Are
to
you gonna eat that? Eat this instead.
Yeah, what is everyone's reactions right now? What are you guys doing in response to this? And what colors are Quinn and Joe? We'll have to find
I'm
that
just
out.
completely fawning at Constance at what she looks like now. Just a full useless lesbian mode.
Heart eyes and wolf wily howl.
Absolutely.
Before, what she was wearing, it fit her frail, small figure, but now that she is fuller, you can see that the shirt rips a little bit into like a V, and
Those buttons are
cinched
working
in just a
hard.
little bit. Oh yes, things are trying to stay contained, but
Them
there's
seams.
so much of her, and
Cleavage.
she is ready to just be herself and be free finally. Yeah, Quinn, Joe, your true iridescence is revealing itself at this revelation. What is that iridescence?
Joe's hair and skin go back to being purple and dark purple, and it's pretty regular to how she was when she was away from off planet. So,
Is anything new or any kind of variation or any other colors that might appear from being fully released
Glitter.
from that
Oh.
curse?
maybe she gets some like blue and red highlights in her hair. Like it's maybe that's how it makes the purple. It's blue and red together, so it's
You're like a Pokemon.
That's fun. What about Quinn?
So Quinn, I think for the first time in a long time, gets all of their colors back. So Quinn's skin is like a kind of like a darker yellow shade. So not like super bright, but just kind of like a almost goldeny yellow or like marigold or something. And their hair is like maroon and they wear it short and kind of like slicked back, like the long on top, short underneath kind of style. And they still have muted colored clothes, but it's like darker shades of like blue, purple, green, brown, just like these pops of color throughout their clothes. But they're just kneeling on the floor, like with their butt on their heels, just like openly weeping at this point with just joy and happiness, a little bit of like sadness, overwhelmingness, just all of the feelings that they haven't been able to feel in the last 20 years are all coming out right now.
Assuming Joe's still on the ground because she was stabbed, she'll just kind of, because I assume that we're still pretty close because I jumped in front of you.
Right.
And Joe says, just kind of like taps on Quinn and says, "You're so bright."
I know, this is what I've always been, and this is what I've been trying to get back to. It's been so long that I forgot what it was like to have colors and to be part of this world. I'm just so glad that we were able to accomplish this finally.
You're beautiful.
You're beautiful too. We're all so beautiful,
It's much better this way.
and it should never, ever be that way again.
I agree. I I am truly sorry that any of this happened, and thank you. Thank you both for coming back. And thank you all for freeing us. I don't know how we can possibly repay you, but I will need to check on my people and make sure that their iridescence is no longer contained. I never want that to happen again. And she glances down at the chain where that meteorite piece was connected to, and she lifts it up and she says, "This, I still don't know where it came from, but it has an awful power about it. And this is just a fragment of what was. There's more out there. I can't quite remember where he came from, but there was a figure that shortly appeared after this meteorite, and ever since he appeared, everything just went gray. I think there are other worlds out there that are the same. I think there are more people that are being drained of their color like we were."
We'll find them.
How's Frigida
I know
looking?
you will.
Alpaca went over too.
Frigida seems a bit stunned at first. She's kind of like looking down at her hands, and she kind of buries her face, feeling ashamed. You can get the sense that her actions previously were not necessarily in line with how she truly is, but they were perhaps warped from the effect of the gray. And she's trying to almost like shy away from everyone. She sees like what's happened to Joe and Quinn especially, and you can just you can almost feel her shame in all of that.
As Alpaca approaches, I don't think she says anything at first, at least. She just approaches slowly and gently, and she reaches out, and she adjusts the, I think you said like a half cloak or something, I don't know, whatever, the cloth that hangs over her shoulder pad, and pushes it back.
There you can see a mark. It seems like perhaps it was a scar, and it's almost like it doesn't seem like she was perhaps stabbed, but it seems as if it's some kind of like a splash of a scar that stretches out across her shoulder. And it kind of gives you a feeling that perhaps somehow this is connected to that meteorite and this person that's being referenced. And over that, the other part that she was actually really trying to cover, you could see this strap of a bra that's like this bright blue as well. But you get the sense that she may have been overtaken by that scar is like a gray color. That still remains gray despite all of the color coming back. So she is still literally scarred from the effects of it that she is ashamed of and was trying to hide. That it did more than just control her mind. It seemed to have hit her soul a little bit. "I'm sorry for what has happened. I couldn't quite control myself entirely. Everything just seemed gray. I couldn't stop seeing gray.
It's going to be okay.
Thank you. I'm glad that you all were here. There's going to be a lot of work to do to fix everything, but this is a start.
I imagine this woman is much larger than Alpaca and just places her teeny tiny little hand on her gigantic shoulder.
Do you remember this?
I tried to fight against this figure in gray, and he struck me. And that mark has never faded. He was the one who began all of this colorlessness. He is the gray itself. I think he was the one who brought this meteorite, or whatever you want to call it, here somehow. Constance is right. There are other places that are being infected.
We have a piece of it now. That means we can
You
find
might
the
be
other
able-
pieces.
You might be able to use it.
We also have a solution, so now we can go forth and bring color and joy to all these worlds without having to guess how to do that anymore.
Alpaca's eyes get really big and she blinks twice and she looks over at Quinn and she's like,
We do have a solution. I've just been flying by the seat of me fucking pants for the last 2 hours.
Well, we do now.
I can't believe that
Alpaca.
worked.
It did.
Holy
and it's
shit.
gonna work again. It's gonna work every time. We'll make sure of it.
I skipped my knee real bad when I did that drift under. It was really cool though. Did you see it?
Was
I
cool.
skiffed my knees really bad.
So Frigida would go over to Joe and offer to help clean up the wound more properly and apologizes profusely for that.
Yeah, sure. You got a Band-Aid, some Neosporin or something? Like
I do. I actually learned how to be a field medic during last summer's infantryship.
Of
Oh.
course.
Perfect.
I was also a ranger.
So you patch her up, and perhaps you all have a bit of a moment speaking with Constance and Frigida before eventually you exit the castle. You see that the town has changed dramatically.
Holy
Like
fuck.
the buildings itself, even the ground, everything is now just vibrant, colorful. It's built with this almost magical looking glass instead of that slab of gray rock. And the people themselves are all across the spectrum. You can see those who have bright yellows and deep reds, a mix of blues and purples and pinks, and it's just color everywhere. You can see everyone rejoicing. You can see that they are singing to the skies, that they are free again, that their colors are no longer restrained. You can see that even the enforcers are tearing off their uniforms and showing their colors from within as well. It seems everyone is back to the way it should be.
Is the dome still in place?
Looking up, you would see that that is still in place, but it's almost like a more kind of like a bubble kind of consistency.
Like a sunroom
and
rather than a prison.
Yes, exactly.
A
Like
greenhouse.
it has protection, but it's warm inside and it allows people in and out freely, and it's almost more aesthetic as opposed to locking
Made with
everyone in.
hexagons and stuff.
Right, exactly.
I wonder what's this done to the rest of the planet.
I
Well-
suppose the best way is to probably see it from above. Referring to your still unnamed ship, I believe.
Didn't we say we named it something?
We were gonna name it the Clover, I thought, but then we said a bunch of other things, so I don't know.
Yeah, we said a lot of things.
There were many names.
Still
tossed
unnamed, possibly Clover.
We call up Syzygy. Can you pick us up?
around.
Boy, just
You're able
just
to-
back in right through the dome.
Yeah.
How's it looking out there?
Everything looks pretty blinding, actually. But
Yo,
it's
for
pretty.
real. I thought I wore a lot of colours.
It is so colorful in here.
It is.
Also,
What's
it
the
has been
actual?
such a long day, and I cannot wait to see you.
You just hear Suzuki like, you have no idea.
Oh, jeez. When the cockpits are rocking, don't go and knocking.
Can we pass by the bakery? I want to see what it's actually called.
Oh man, so yeah, you pass by the bakery, and it definitely has a name. And
Critical
it's not
roles.
bakery. I did not prepare for that at all. Classic confections.
Oh, there you go.
Italian. I don't like those dry ass cookies. They don't even take them with tea. Alpaca will push open the door. Does it ding?
Oh yes, it's
Oh,
almost
that's-
actually more of like a tinkling instead of just like a ding. It's like ding 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 ding.
That's much better.
Like
Does she look
wind
up and see
chimes or
like
something.
yeah,
Yeah.
like that polished sea glass, like
Hello there. I'd like a cup of tea, please.
And the tea that you are given is almost explosive with flavor compared to that just bland hot water from before.
Whoa! Is that native? I must know your supplier. I'll take
I
40
think you
cases,
could-
please.
You could probably ask Alila.
I'll be right
Joe,
back.
you do note among the throng of many happy faces, there are every now and then a few that still seem a bit distraught. Quinn, you would probably see this especially as well too. And you catch a glimpse of Rose in the crowd before she disappears among them. And you are reminded that there are still some of those out there that are missing. You're realizing this, that not all are here, that some who are sent to this fixer, it's not here, it is somewhere else. And they are still out there. So your job isn't entirely complete. But you did a lot of work here. You have freed so many people. They are now able to express themselves with their colors. They are able to join hands with who they choose instead of who they are told is proper for them to be with. They can have any kind of flavors with the foods and drinks that they have. They can style their hair how they want. They can dress how they want. There's no restrictions here. It is just do what makes you happy, thrive, and show your true colors.
Alpaca
is
stops in
how it's
every
supposed to be.
clothing store on the line.
Oh no. With that, you guys have managed to free Vivacia. You have gotten a pretty good lead on this mysterious object that seems to leech away color
And
and
he who
life
is grey.
itself. And he who is gray. So perhaps you gal paladins may continue on your journey pursuing this gray person, this he who is gray, as was noted. And perhaps there are other quests that the three paragons may also present to you. There are many options before you. Many, many more adventures to be had with this crew, because this was definitely a very bonding experience, one could say, between you four. This being your first mission together officially, and now the beginning of something so much more.
Before we pull away, can we like kind of go into the like through the ship
And
into
then
the kitchen?
choo.
Yeah. And like Alpaca's like look like sitting at she's on top of Stoolie, who's sat for her, and she's got her hand in her hand and her chin in her hand, and she's staring very intently at this spice jar that has the remnants of the meteorite in it.
No, no.
Violet's next to her, basically in the same pose, but like a full head taller. Even leaned over and is just, what are you?
I have many questions and none of them are answered, but I do know one thing. It does take away taste. So, it could be harnessed, but I also don't think it's ethical to feed it to people until we know what it is.
Yeah, I don't want to eat anything that stuff is touched.
No, well, you gotta refine it. Everything needs to be refined. You can't just eat a rock you can't just eat rock salt.
Or can you?
I mean, have you tried?
Yes,
Oh.
Oh.
it was not very. It was a mistake. It was a mistake. It was a geology stint. I was really into rocks. I still am. We don't need to talk about how many boxes of rocks that I've got in my room. It's beneath all the yarn, and the dressing gowns, and the pillows, and the wooden toys, and the stuffed
Alpaca
animals.
goes on and on and on as
Yeah,
it kind of zooms
yeah.
back out.
And we fade out to thank you for joining us for Even Funny Games Presents. We will have a wrap-up episode that will be over on our partner podcast, Potions and Potpourri. So thank you so much, Keisha, for taking us on this adventure
Mhm.
through gay space.